The Force binds all things across the galaxy, connecting every living being in an invisible web of energy and destiny. But what happens when something from beyond the stars arrives? Something that operates on power the Force cannot touch, cannot predict, cannot control? The Sith would call it an anomaly. The Jedi would have called it impossible. The galaxy would simply call it a warrior. Goku's hand pressed against his forehead, two fingers extended in the familiar stance of instant transmission. Whis had been explaining something about divine energy control. Honestly, Goku had stopped listening after the first hour, when he'd felt it. A surge of life force, massive and distant, calling to him from somewhere impossibly far away. His curiosity had gotten the better of him, as it always did. He'd locked onto that distant energy signature and teleported. The technique had never failed him before. But this time, something went wrong. The space between moments stretched like taffy, pulling him through a barrier that screamed resistance. Colors that had no names flashed past his eyes. His body felt simultaneously compressed and expanded, as if the universe itself was trying to reject his passage. Then came the tearing sensation, like ripping through fabric that was never meant to be torn. Goku tumbled out of the dimensional rift 30,000 feet above a desert planet, golden aura flickering around him as he plummeted toward twin suns burning in an alien sky. Whoa! He flipped midair, slowing his descent as Kai energy flared beneath him. The air tasted different here, dry, hot, filled with sand and something else he couldn't quite identify. Below, a settlement sprawled across the dunes, its buildings a mix of domed structures and angular architecture that looked nothing like Earth or any planet he'd visited with the Z-fighters. As he descended toward what looked like the main street, heads turned upward. Goku caught glimpses of faces, some human, others definitely not. A blue-skinned person with headtails froze mid-step. A massive slug-like creature bellowed something in a language Goku didn't recognize. A group of white-armored soldiers raised strange rifles in his direction. "Hey, sorry about this," Goku called out cheerfully as he landed in the middle of the dusty street, dispersing his aura. Sand billowed outward from the impact point, though he'd pulled his power back enough to avoid cratering the ground. "Didn't mean to drop in like that. I'm a little lost. This isn't Earth, is it?" The white-armored soldiers, stormtroopers, though Goku had no way of knowing that, advanced in formation. Their rifles hummed with charging energy. "Unidentified entity, you are in violation of Imperial airspace," the lead trooper barked through his helmet's vocoder. "Put your hands on your head and surrender immediately." Goku scratched his head, genuinely confused. Imperial? Is that like a government thing? He glanced around at the gathering crowd, noticing how people were backing away, fear evident in their body language. "Look, I really don't want any trouble. I just need to figure out where I am and how to get back home. My wife's going to kill me if I miss dinner again. Final warning, surrender or we will open fire." Goku sighed, dropping into a relaxed, ready stance. He'd been through this dance before. New planet, new authority figures who didn't know him, threats, then usually some fighting before things got sorted out. At least these guys had given him a warning first. That was polite. The stormtroopers opened fire. Bolts of red energy screamed toward Goku from multiple angles. He watched them come with the casual interest of someone who dodged everything from Kai blast to literal God's attacks. At the last possible moment, he swayed left, right, ducked under one bolt, and caught another in his palm. The energy dissipated against his skin with a slight tingling sensation. "Huh, these feel different from Kai blasts," Goku observed, more to himself than anyone else. "More like concentrated light or something." The stormtroopers stared. One dropped his rifle. Did he just catch a blaster bolt?" Someone in the crowd whispered. From a rooftop overlooking the street, a pair of binoculars lowered. Captain Vex of the Rebel Alliance had been on Tatooine for routine supply pickup when the golden streak had torn across the sky. Now watching this strange warrior casually deflect Imperial weapons with his bare hands, she felt her heart rate spike. "Command, this is Vex," she whispered into her comlink. "You're not going to believe this, but I think we just found something the Empire doesn't know how to handle." Below, Goku raised his hands in a placating gesture. "Seriously, I don't want to fight you guys. I'm just trying to find my way home. Maybe we could talk about this. The stormtrooper sergeant's hand trembled as he keyed his helmet comm. Command, we need reinforcements at Mos Eisley Main Square. Unidentified hostile displaying impossible combat capabilities, requesting immediate support. Across the galaxy, on the bridge of the Super Star Destroyer Executor, Darth Vader paused mid-conversation with an admiral. The Dark Lord's helmeted head tilted slightly, as if listening to something no one else could hear. Through the Force, he sensed nothing. And yet, reports were flooding in about a disturbance on Tatooine. A warrior who moved with impossible speed, who caught blaster fire with bare hands, who radiated power that defied every sensor and scanner. My lord, the admiral ventured carefully. Set course for Tatooine, Vader commanded, his mechanical breathing filling the sudden silence. I will investigate this matter personally. The admiral paled but obeyed. One did not question Lord Vader. Back in Mos Eisley, Goku watched as more stormtroopers poured into the square, accompanied by hovering vehicles mounting larger weapons. The crowd had completely dispersed now, leaving only combatants and one very confused Saiyan standing in the dust. Man, this is getting complicated, Goku muttered. He could sense the fear radiating from the soldiers, see the way their weapons trembled slightly. They weren't evil, just scared and following orders. He'd dealt with enough armies back home to recognize the pattern. A new voice crackled through the air, amplified by the hovering vehicle's speakers. Attention, unidentified intruder. You are surrounded by Imperial forces. Power down whatever technology you're using and submit to arrest. Resistance will be met with lethal force. Goku looked down at himself, then back up at the vehicles. Technology? I'm not using any technology. This is all me. The silence that followed was profound. Then someone in the crowd, someone brave or foolish, shouted, He's like a Jedi, but without a lightsaber. The word rippled through the remaining onlookers. Jedi. The stormtroopers' formation tightened, fear now mixing with grim determination. The Empire had standing orders regarding Jedi. Terminate on sight. If you want to see more characters enter the Star Wars galaxy, hit that subscribe button and drop the name of a character you'd want to see in the comments below. May the Force be with you. Goku felt the shift in the air, the way the soldiers' fingers tensed on triggers. He'd been in enough fights to know what came next. His cheerful expression faded slightly, replaced by the focused calm of a martial artist reading his opponents. Guess we're doing this the hard way, he said softly. The Imperial forces opened fire as one, and the battle for understanding began. The air filled with crimson death as dozens of blaster rifles discharged simultaneously. To the stormtroopers, it was overwhelming firepower, enough to reduce a building to molten slag. To Goku, it was a warm-up. He moved, not with the graceful precognition of a Jedi reading the Force, but with pure, trained instinct honed across decades of combat. His body became a blur, weaving between energy bolts that seemed to crawl through the air from his perspective. A spinning kick deflected 3 shots back toward their origin. Goku pulled the strike at the last second so the reflected bolts would miss the troopers by inches rather than hit them. He didn't want to hurt these people. They were just doing their job. Come on, guys, Goku called out as he danced through the laser fire. There's gotta be someone here who can explain what's going on. I don't even know what planet this is. A stormtrooper dropped his rifle and ran. Then another. Then 5 more. The hovering assault vehicles, TX-225 GAW Occupier combat tanks, rotated their main cannons toward the impossible target. The gunners had clear shots. They fired. Heavy blaster cannon fire tore through the space where Goku had been standing a microsecond before. The Saiyan had launched himself skyward, flipping over the energy barrage with casual grace. He landed on top of one of the tanks, tapping it gently with his knuckles. Nice hardware, he observed, genuinely impressed by the engineering. Reminds me of Bulma's capsule vehicles, but bigger. The tank listed sideways under his weight, not because Goku was heavy, but because the pilot had jerked the controls in panic. Goku hopped off before it could crash, landing back in the square's center as the vehicle righted itself and retreated. From her rooftop position, Captain Vex spoke urgently into her comlink. He's toying with them, full Imperial squad, and he hasn't thrown a single offensive strike. Command whoever this is, he's holding back. Significantly. Copy that, Vex. Maintain observation. Do not engage. We need more intel before making contact. Understood. The remaining stormtroopers had fallen back to form a perimeter, their weapons trained on Goku, but none of them firing. The sergeant's voice crackled through his helmet comm, receiving orders from higher up the Imperial chain of command. All units, maintain containment. Reinforcements en route. Target is to be contained, not engaged. Repeat, contain, do not engage. Goku sensed the shift in their intent and relaxed slightly. Finally, so can someone tell me where I am? What system is this? Before anyone could answer, a new presence entered the square. The stormtroopers snapped to attention as an Imperial officer strode forward, his gray uniform immaculate despite Tatooine's dusty environment. Behind him marched a squad of soldiers in black armor, death troopers, elite units whose very appearance made the remaining civilians flee. I am Commander Voss of the Imperial Security Bureau, the officer announced, his tone clipped and authoritative. You will accompany me for questioning regarding your unauthorized arrival and assault on Imperial forces? Goku scratched his head. Assault? I didn't hit anybody. They shot first. I just dodged. Resisting arrest is assault under Imperial law. I wasn't resisting arrest. I didn't know I was under arrest. Nobody explained that part. Commander Voss's jaw tightened. Your ignorance of Imperial law is not an excuse. You will come with us, or you will be subdued by force. Look, I really don't want trouble, Goku said, his tone still friendly despite the tension. But I'm not going anywhere until someone tells me where here is. I'm looking for a way back to Earth. That's my home planet. If you can help with that, great. If not, I'll find someone who can. There is no planet called Earth in any Imperial database, Voss replied coldly. Which means you're either a liar or an extragalactic intruder. Either way, you're coming with us. The death troopers raised their rifles. These weapons hummed with a deeper, more ominous tone than standard blasters. Goku's expression shifted. The cheerfulness remained, but underneath it, Captain Vex could see something else. A predator's patience, the calm of someone who had fought gods and emerged victorious. She'd seen that look before in veteran rebel commandos, but never with such casual intensity. I'm going to say this one more time, Goku said quietly. I don't want to fight you, but I'm not going with you either. Not until I understand what's happening. Then you've made your choice. The death troopers fired in synchronized pattern, their shots calculated to provide no gaps, no escape routes. It was a killing formation designed to eliminate force-sensitive targets. Goku raised one hand and concentrated. Golden ki energy flared around his palm, forming a barrier that the blaster bolts splashed against like water hitting stone. The energy dissipated harmlessly, not even singeing his orange guy. Okay, now I'm getting annoyed, Goku admitted. He vanished. To everyone watching, the warrior simply ceased to exist. No blur of motion, no force-assisted speed. One moment he stood in the square's center, the next he was gone. Commander Voss spun, scanning the area, his confidence cracking into confusion. Where? Up here. Voss looked up. Goku floated 30 feet above the square. Arms crossed, his expression now serious. The twin suns of Tatooine backlit him, creating a silhouette that would burn itself into the memory of every Imperial soldier present. I can fly, Goku stated simply. I can do a lot of things you probably think are impossible. But what I want to do is go home. So I'm going to leave now, and I'm going to find someone who can help me figure that out. You can try to stop me, but I promise you, it won't work. Captain Vex felt her breath catch. The warrior wasn't threatening them. He was simply stating fact with the confidence of someone who had never met a challenge he couldn't overcome. Commander Voss's hand moved to his sidearm, but a subordinate grabbed his wrist. Sir, our orders were to contain. That thing, he can fly, sir, without a jetpack. Without any visible technology. I can see that, Lieutenant. Then with respect, sir, we need to wait for Lord Vader. The name sent a ripple through the assembled forces. Even Goku, hovering above them, noticed the reaction. Fear mixed with something else. Reverence, terror. He couldn't quite pin it down. Who's Vader? Goku asked. The question hung in the desert air like a death knell. Several stormtroopers exchanged glances. Commander Voss's expression became unreadable. "You'll find out soon enough," Voss said. "Lord Vader is already en route. I suggest you don't resist when he arrives. He's far less patient than I am." Goku sensed movement from the rooftops. Multiple life forces, weaker than the soldiers but trying to stay hidden. Rebels, though he didn't know to call them that yet. He could feel their curiosity, their hope, mixing with caution. "Tell you what," Goku offered. "I'll stick around and meet this Vader person. Maybe he'll have some answers. But if he attacks me like you guys did, I'm defending myself. Fair warning." Commander Voss nodded slowly. "Your warning is noted. For what it's worth, I'd advise cooperation. Lord Vader doesn't negotiate. Neither do I when I'm fighting," Goku replied with a grin. "But I always try talking first." High above Tatooine, breaching the planet's atmosphere, the Executor settled into orbit. In his meditation chamber, Darth Vader opened his eyes behind the dark mask. Through the Force, he had sensed the conflict below, felt the fear of his troops, the confusion radiating from Mos Eisley. But the warrior himself? Nothing. A void in the Force where something of immense power clearly existed. It was as if someone had cut a hole in the galaxy's fabric and inserted something that didn't belong. Vader rose from his meditation. This anomaly required personal investigation. If this warrior posed a threat to the Emperor's plans, he would be eliminated. If he could be turned, well, Vader had learned never to waste potential weapons. His shuttle launched toward the surface. On a rooftop overlooking the square, Captain Vex made her decision. "Command, I'm going to make contact. If the Empire gets this warrior first, we lose a potential asset. And if Vader converts him..." She didn't finish the thought. "I'm making my move." "Negative, Vex. Stand down until..." She switched off the comm link and began climbing down toward the street level. Some opportunities only came once. The rebellion had learned to seize them or die. Goku, still floating above the square, felt one of those rooftop presences moving, not attacking, approaching, curious. He watched as a woman in worn flight gear emerged from an alley, her hands raised to show they were empty. "Hey there," Goku called down. "You don't seem as trigger-happy as these guys. You got any answers about where I am?" Captain Vex took a deep breath. "I've got answers, and a proposition. But we need to talk before Darth Vader arrives." "That name again. Must be someone important." "He's the Emperor's enforcer, a Sith Lord. And if you value your life, you'll listen to what I have to say before he gets here." Goku descended slowly, his curiosity piqued. "Sith Lord? That sounds cool. What's a Sith?" Vex stared at him. You really don't know anything about this galaxy, do you?" "Nope." Goku landed in front of her with a friendly smile. "That's why I'm asking. So what's going on here? What's with all the fighting?" Commander Voss shouted a warning, but Vex ignored him. She extended her hand. "My name's Captain Vex. I'm with the Rebel Alliance. We're fighting a war against the Galactic Empire. These people you just fought, and you, whoever you are, just became the most interesting person in the galaxy." Goku shook her hand enthusiastically. "I'm Goku. Nice to meet you. A war, huh? What's it about?" "Freedom," Vex said simply. "The Empire rules through fear and oppression. We're trying to restore democracy. It's complicated." "It always is," Goku agreed. Above them, a dark shape breached the atmosphere, descending rapidly toward Mos Eisley. "I think your important person just showed up." Darth Vader's shuttle screamed through the sky, its imperial markings stark against the blue. Every soldier in the square stood at attention. The very air seemed to grow heavier. Goku's expression shifted from friendly to focused. He could feel it now, something powerful approaching, wrapped in darkness and anger and pain. It reminded him of fighting Frieza or facing Majin Buu, that sense of someone who had embraced their worst nature and made it a weapon. "Okay," Goku said quietly, rolling his shoulders. "Let's see what this Vader guy has to say." The shuttle landed, the ramp descended, and Darth Vader strode into the square, his black armor gleaming, his mechanical breathing echoing off the buildings like a death march given sound. The Sith Lord's masked gaze swept the area, cataloging the destruction, the terrified troops, the impossible warrior standing calmly in the center of it all. When Vader spoke, his voice was deep, mechanical, and utterly devoid of mercy. "You are an anomaly," Vader stated. "The Force does not touch you. Yet you display power beyond any technology in Imperial archives. Explain yourself." Goku met his gaze steadily. "I'm just a guy who ended up in the wrong place. Name's Goku. And you're Vader, right? People seem pretty scared of you." "They should be." "Yeah," Goku said thoughtfully. "I can tell you're strong. Really strong. Probably the strongest person I've sensed since I got here." A grin spread across his face, the expression of a martial artist who had just found a worthy challenge. "Want to spar?" The square went silent. Several stormtroopers actually gasped. Darth Vader tilted his head slightly, processing the request. In his decades of service to the Empire, enforcing the Emperor's will with ruthless efficiency, no one had ever casually asked him to spar. "You wish to fight me?" Vader's tone carried something that might have been amusement in a being less broken. "Not fight," Goku corrected. "Spar, just to see what you can do. I promise I'll hold back enough to keep it fun." Captain Vex grabbed Goku's arm. "Are you insane?" she hissed. "That's Darth Vader. He'll kill you." Goku patted her hand reassuringly. "It'll be fine. I'm pretty tough." Vader's hand moved to his lightsaber, and the galaxy held its breath. The crimson blade ignited with a snap hiss that had preceded the deaths of countless Jedi, rebels, and those foolish enough to defy the Empire. Darth Vader held the lightsaber in a classic gem guard position, the blade humming with barely contained plasma energy. Around the square, every Imperial soldier took 3 steps back. Goku's eyes widened with genuine delight. "Whoa, that's awesome! It's like a sword made of pure energy." He leaned closer, studying the blade with the enthusiasm of a child discovering a new toy. "How's it stay that shape? Is it some kind of magnetic containment field?" Vader paused, his blade held steady. In all his years wielding a lightsaber, no one had ever responded to its ignition with curiosity rather than fear. "You do not fear this weapon?" "Why would I?" Goku straightened, still smiling. "It looks dangerous, sure, but so are lots of things. Like my friend Vegeta, he's super dangerous and I fight him all the time for training." He dropped into a loose fighting stance, one that Vader's combat experience recognized as deceptively casual. "So how does this work? Do we just start, or is there some kind of signal?" "There is no sparring," Vader declared. "There is only victory or death. If you wish to test your power against mine, prepare to face the consequences." Captain Vex had retreated to the square's edge, her mind racing. She should run. She should get to safety and report this encounter to Alliance Command. Instead, she found herself frozen, unable to look away from what was about to unfold. The warrior called Goku showed no fear, no hesitation, only an eagerness that bordered on reckless. Commander Voss activated his helmet comm. "All units, fall back to minimum safe distance. Document everything. The Emperor will want a full report." Vader struck without warning, his blade slashing toward Goku's torso in a blow designed to bisect the Saiyan at the waist. The lightsaber moved with force-enhanced speed, a killing stroke that had ended Jedi Masters. Goku leaned back, the blade passing inches from his chest. He felt the heat radiating from it, caught the scent of ozone in superheated air. "Okay, that's definitely hot enough to hurt," he observed. "Good to know." Vader's follow-up came instantly, a diagonal slash from shoulder to hip, redirecting mid-swing into a thrust toward Goku's heart. The Dark Lord's lightsaber combat was legendary, combining technical precision with force precognition to create an assault that seemed to predict his opponent's movements before they made them. Goku dodged each strike with minimal movement, his head tilting left, right, his body swaying like a reed in wind. He wasn't reading the Force. He was reading Vader's body language, his weight distribution, the micro movements that telegraphed each attack. Decades of fighting the universe's strongest warriors had taught him to see patterns in combat that transcended any mystical energy. "You're really good," Goku said enthusiastically, avoiding a horizontal slash that would have decapitated him. "That technique, you're using your whole body, not just your arms, and you're predicting where I'll move. That's smart." Vader said nothing. his mechanical breathing the only sound as he pressed his assault. The lightsaber became a blur of crimson death, each strike flowing seamlessly into the next. He incorporated force pushes between attacks, invisible waves of telekinetic energy designed to throw opponents off balance. Goku stumbled slightly as an invisible force shoved against his chest. "Oh, you can push stuff with your mind?" He grinned, excitement building. "That's like Chao Tzu's telekinesis." "Okay, this is getting interesting." The Saiyan's hand shot forward, catching Vader's lightsaber wrist mid-swing. The blade froze inches from Goku's neck, held in place by a grip that might as well have been Durasteel. Vader attempted to pull free and found he couldn't move his arm. "Sorry, sorry." Goku released him and hopped backward. "I just wanted to see if you were using some kind of energy to enhance your physical strength." "You are, but it's different from Kai. Yours is more external, like it's flowing through you from somewhere else." Vader's masked gaze studied his opponent with new intensity. The warrior had caught his weapon arm, an arm cybernetically enhanced to crush Durasteel, and stopped it completely. The Dark Lord extended his free hand and unleashed the force with lethal intent. An invisible vice clamped around Goku's throat. Vader had used this technique to execute admirals and rebels, crushing windpipes and snapping necks with a gesture. He squeezed with the full power of the dark side, enough force to collapse a human throat like wet paper. Goku coughed slightly. "Okay, that's uncomfortable," he wheezed, reaching up to massage his neck. The pressure was there, significant even by his standards, but his Saiyan physiology, built to withstand planet-crushing forces, held firm. "You're definitely strong, but I've been in gravity chambers hundreds of times Earth's normal pull. This feels like maybe 50 times? 60? Vader's concentration broke from pure shock. The force choke hadn't worked. It had never failed to work. Goku disappeared in a blur of motion. Vader spun, lightsaber raised, but the Saiyan was already behind him. A gentle tap on Vader's shoulder made the Dark Lord whirl, slashing empty air. Another tap on his opposite shoulder, then a poke to his back. "You're fast too," Goku called from 20 feet away. "Way faster than normal humans. But I've been training my whole life to fight people faster than me." "Eventually, you just get used to it." Captain Vex stared in disbelief. Darth Vader, the Emperor's fist, the Jedi killer, the terror of the rebellion, was being toyed with. The warrior wasn't even breathing hard. Vader reached into the Force, drawing on decades of rage and pain. Darkside energy swirled around him like a storm. He raised both hands and unleashed Force lightning. Blue-white electrical energy arced through the air toward Goku, crackling with power that could reduce a living being to ash. It was the Emperor's signature technique, one Vader had mastered through sheer will despite the limitations of his suit. The lightning struck Goku square in the chest. The Saiyan winced, his body tensing against the electrical current. "Ow! Okay, that stings!" He gritted his teeth, planting his feet as the lightning coursed over him. His GI smoked slightly, the fabric singed but not burning. "That's like, remember when Vegeta hit me with that lightning attack on Namek? Yeah, about that level." Vader poured more power into the attack, his suit's life support systems straining under the energy expenditure. The lightning intensified, bright enough to cast harsh shadows across the square. Goku's hair stood on end from the static, his muscles locked up from the sustained electrical assault. It hurt, there was no denying that. But he'd survived worse, much worse. Android 19 had absorbed his energy. Cell had nearly killed him with a single blow. Majin Buu had pushed him beyond Super Saiyan 3's limits. This was painful, but it wasn't lethal. "Okay, my turn." Goku thrust his palm forward. A focused wave of Kai energy, invisible to Force users but devastating in its impact, erupted from his hand. The concussive blast struck Vader in the chest, lifting the Dark Lord off his feet and hurling him backward 20 meters. Vader crashed through a market stall, Durasteel armor screeching against stone. His life support systems blared warnings. Minor damage to chest plate, impacts to multiple systems. Oxygen flow interrupted for 1.3 seconds. The Dark Lord rose slowly, mechanically. He had not been knocked down in combat for years, decades. Not since Mustafar, not since Obi-Wan. "Are you okay?" Goku called out, genuine concern in his voice. "I pulled that punch like way back. Didn't want to hurt you seriously." "Pulled? Your punch?" Vader's mechanical breathing intensified. Rage flooded through him, fueling his connection to the dark side. This warrior, this anomaly, was holding back, treating him like a training exercise, like a child to be humored. Unacceptable. Vader reached out through the Force, grabbing hold of every loose object in the square. Crates, barrels, debris from the destroyed market stall, even stones from the street itself. All of it rose into the air, hovering around him like a deadly constellation. With a gesture, he hurled them at Goku in a storm of improvised projectiles. Goku wove between the objects, his movements economical and precise. A wooden crate shattered against his raised forearm. A metal barrel bounced off his shoulder with a hollow clang. When a particularly large stone came hurtling toward his face, he caught it one-handed and tossed it gently aside. "That's telekinesis, right?" Goku said, landing smoothly after dodging a barrage of market produce. "Pretty versatile ability. You could probably—" Vader's hand clenched into a fist. The entire building behind Goku groaned. Through the Force, the Dark Lord gripped its structure and pulled. The two-story cantina collapsed inward, tons of stone and metal falling directly toward the Saiyan. Citizens inside scrambled to escape as their establishment crumbled around them. "Hey!" Goku's expression shifted from friendly to serious. "There are people in there." He moved faster than anyone present could track. One moment he stood in the square, the next he was inside the collapsing building. Stormtroopers' helmet cams barely caught glimpses. A golden blur lifting a Rhodian family, catching a falling support beam with his shoulder. Physically holding up a section of ceiling while three Jawas scurried to safety beneath him. When the dust settled, the building was rubble. But standing in the center of it, looking irritated for the first time since his arrival, was Goku. 8 civilians clustered around him, shaken but unharmed. "That wasn't cool," Goku said quietly. "Fighting's one thing. Putting innocent people in danger is something else." Vader stood silent, analyzing. The warrior possessed physical capabilities that defied every known biological limit. Energy projection comparable to large-scale weaponry. Speed that rivaled Force-enhanced movement. Durability beyond any armor or enhancement. And underneath it all, a moral code that prioritized civilian safety over combat advantage. The Emperor would want this warrior eliminated or turned. There was no third option. "You are powerful," Vader acknowledged, "but power without purpose is meaningless. The Empire offers purpose, order, stability. Join us and your strength will reshape this galaxy." Goku helped an elderly Twi'lek woman step over debris, making sure she reached the square safely before turning back to Vader. "Reshape it how? By collapsing buildings on people? By making everyone scared?" He shook his head. "I don't know much about your empire or this galaxy yet, but I know what a bully looks like. And you guys seem like bullies." "We are order in a chaotic universe," Vader countered. "The Jedi failed through their weakness. The Republic collapsed through corruption. Only the Empire's strength maintains peace." "Peace through fear isn't really peace," Goku replied. "It's just everyone being too scared to fight back. Back home, we had someone like that. Frieza. He conquered planets and killed anyone who resisted. Called it order. Called it peace." His expression hardened. "I killed him for it." The name meant nothing to anyone present, but the tone conveyed everything. This warrior had faced tyrants before, and won. Captain Vex saw her opportunity. She stepped forward, positioning herself between the two combatants. "Goku, listen to me. Vader serves the Emperor, Palpatine. They destroyed the Jedi Order, dissolved the Republic, and built an empire on slavery and oppression. We're fighting to restore freedom to the galaxy." "She lies," Vader stated flatly. "The rebellion are terrorists who prolong suffering through futile resistance." "The Empire destroyed entire planets," Vex shot back. "Alderaan, billions of people gone in an instant because the Emperor wanted to demonstrate his power." Goku's eyes widened. "Billions? An entire planet?" He looked at Vader. "Is that true?" "Alderaan harbored rebel sympathies," Vader replied without emotion. "The Death Star's demonstration was necessary to maintain order. One planet's sacrifice saved countless others from the chaos of continued rebellion. You, you murdered billions of people and you're calling it sacrifice. Goku's voice dropped dangerously low. The temperature in the square seemed to rise. That's not order. That's evil. Evil is a matter of perspective, Vader said. I serve the Empire. I do what must be done. Goku's fists clenched. Golden energy began to crackle around his body, small arcs of Kai sparking in the air. His power level rose steadily, the air pressure increasing as his aura manifested physically. Every force sensitive within 100 miles felt something. Not a disturbance in the force, but rather the absence of it. A hole in reality where immense power gathered, visible to normal sight but completely invisible to force perception. It was fundamentally wrong, like watching a shadow cast light instead of blocking it. I need to think about this, Goku said finally, his power settling back down. I don't understand this galaxy yet. Don't know who's really right or wrong. But I know killing billions of innocent people is wrong, no matter how you justify it. He turned to Captain Vex. You said you're fighting for freedom, right? Against these Empire people? Yes, we're the rebellion, the alliance to restore the Republic. We're outnumbered, outgunned, but we're fighting because someone has to. Okay, Goku nodded. I'll hear you out. Let you explain your side. But, he held up a finger, I'm not promising to fight in your war. Not until I understand what's really going on. That's all I'm asking, Vex said, relief flooding through her. Just listen, learn, then decide for yourself. Vader's lightsaber ignited once more. You will not leave with the rebel. Surrender now, or I will end you. Goku sighed. Look, Vader, you seem like a strong guy. Really strong, but I'm stronger, and I really don't want to hurt you. He met the Dark Lord's masked gaze directly. If you attack me again, I'll have to fight back for real. Are you sure that's what you want? In his decades of service to the Empire, in all his battles and executions and ruthless enforcement of Imperial will, Darth Vader had never backed down from a challenge. He had never retreated from combat. He had never shown weakness. But standing in that square, facing a warrior who radiated impossible power and displayed capabilities that defied every law of the galaxy, Vader made a calculated decision. This anomaly required more than brute force. It required understanding, and ultimately it required the Emperor's guidance. You will regret this alliance, Vader promised. The rebellion offers only death and failure. When you understand this truth, the Empire will not be merciful. If I'm wrong, I'll apologize, Goku said simply. Come on, Captain. Let's go talk somewhere without all the blaster fire. Vex led him toward a side alley where her speeder was stashed. Goku waved cheerfully at the assembled stormtroopers. Nice meeting you all. Hope nobody got hurt too bad. As they disappeared into Mos Eisley's winding streets, Commander Voss approached Vader cautiously. My lord, should we pursue? No. Vader's breathing filled the silence. Let him go. The warrior thinks he's making an informed choice. He doesn't yet understand that in this galaxy, there are only two sides, the Empire's order and chaos. He will learn. The Dark Lord turned back toward his shuttle. Prepare a full report for the Emperor. Every detail of the warrior's capabilities, weaknesses, and displayed moral code. His Majesty will want to know everything. And if he joins the rebellion? Vader paused at the shuttle's ramp. Then we will break him or kill him. There is no third option. The shuttle lifted off, carrying the Dark Lord back to his ship. But Vader's mind was already working through scenarios, calculating approaches. The warrior called Goku was powerful, perhaps the most physically powerful being Vader had ever faced. But power alone had never been enough to defeat the Sith. The dark side offered tools beyond mere strength, and the Emperor had turned stronger wills than this to the Empire's service. High above Tatooine, in the throne room of the Death Star 2's construction site, Emperor Palpatine felt a ripple of interest flow through the Force. Something new had entered his carefully orchestrated galaxy. Something unpredictable. He smiled beneath his hood. Unpredictable variables were either weapons to be wielded or threats to be eliminated. Soon he would determine which category this Goku fell into. Captain Vex's speeder wove through Mos Eisley's narrow streets, kicking up dust as it banked around corners. Goku sat in the passenger seat, his orange gi eyes still smoking slightly from Vader's Force lightning, looking around with undisguised fascination at the alien cityscape. So those big things walking on four legs? He pointed at an AT-AT walker in the distance. Are those like animals or machines? All-terrain armored transports, Vex explained, her eyes constantly checking the rear scanners for Imperial pursuit. Imperial walkers, mobile weapons platforms. Each one carries a full squad of stormtroopers and enough firepower to level a city block. Huh. We have something similar back home. Capsule Corp makes these giant mechs sometimes. Never saw the point myself. Seems easier to just fly where you need to go. He paused. Wait, can everyone in this galaxy fly like I do? Or was that a special thing? Vex actually laughed despite the tension. No, Goku. Nobody flies like you do. The only people who come close are Jedi, and they're all but extinct. They could use the Force to jump incredible distances, but sustained flight? That was impossible even for them. Force. That's what Vader mentioned too. That's the energy I felt around him, right? The one that feels like it's coming from everywhere at once? The Force binds all living things in the galaxy, Vex recited from half-remembered lessons. It's an energy field created by all life. Some people are born with the ability to sense it, manipulate it. The Jedi used it for peace and justice. The Sith, like Vader and the Emperor, use it for power and domination. Goku nodded slowly, processing. So it's like Kai, but external instead of internal. Back home, everyone has ki, life energy, but you have to train to sense it and use it. Sounds like this Force is similar, but you have to be born with the ability. He grinned. That's interesting. I wonder if I could learn to sense it since I'm already good with energy manipulation. The speeder turned into a narrow canyon passage outside the city limits. Vex slowed, checking coordinates on her Navy computer. We're meeting a contact, another rebel operative. He'll take us to a safe location where we can talk properly. She glanced at him. What you did back there, standing up to Vader, that was either the bravest or stupidest thing I've ever seen. Little bit of both, probably, Goku admitted cheerfully. My wife tells me I'm too reckless all the time. But Vader seemed like he was going to attack no matter what I did, so I figured I might as well see what he could do. And, Vex couldn't help asking, what did you think? He's strong. Really strong for someone who's mostly human, I think. His body felt mechanical, like parts of him had been replaced, but he channels that Force energy really well, and his sword technique is excellent. If he trained in martial arts properly, combined with that Force ability, Goku whistled, he could probably give Piccolo a decent fight. Vex had no context for that reference, but the casual tone suggested Goku was comparing Vader to someone he considered powerful, but not insurmountable. It should have been reassuring. Instead, it was terrifying. Darth Vader was the Empire's most feared enforcer, and this stranger discussed him like a training partner. A figure emerged from behind a rock formation, a Bothan in worn flight gear, his fur matted with dust. He made a series of hand signals, which Vex returned. Clear, no Imperial tracking. Goku, this is Nask. He's our local intelligence operative. Nask, this is... Well, I honestly don't know what he is, but he just fought Darth Vader to a standstill and lived to talk about it. Nask's ears flattened in disbelief. You're joking. Wish I was. Vex hopped out of the speeder. We need to get him to the regional command. General Riekin needs to hear about this directly. The Empire's going to be turning Tatooine upside down looking for him, Nask warned. Every garrison within 3 sectors will be on high alert. Let them look, Goku said, stretching his arms over his head. I can sense life energy from pretty far away. I'll know if anyone's following us. He paused, tilting his head like a dog hearing a distant sound. Actually, there's a small group heading this way. Maybe 15 people? No, 14 people and 2 really weak energy signatures. Droids, maybe? Nask pulled out his scanner and swept the canyon. His device pinged almost immediately. Imperial Patrol. Scout troopers on speeder bikes. How did you... We're 3 clicks from the nearest settlement. I told you, I can sense life energy. Goku pointed. They're coming from that direction, moving fast. Should we hide or something? Vex's hand moved to her blaster. We run. Nask, get to your ship. Goku, with me? Or I could just talk to them, Goku suggested. Maybe they're more reasonable than the ones in the city. They're Imperial scouts, Vex said urgently. They're here because Vader ordered a search. They won't be reasonable. They'll be trigger-happy. The whine of speeder bike engines echoed through the canyon. A squad of scout troopers rounded the bend, their light armor gleaming in the twin suns' light. They spotted the group immediately and accelerated, drawing blaster pistols. Targets acquired. Unidentified humanoids in restricted Imperial search zone. Restricted? Goku looked confused. This was open desert 5 minutes ago. The scouts opened fire. Vex and Nask dove behind rocks, returning fire with their own weapons. Goku stood in the open, watching the red energy bolts approach with academic interest. You're really committed to this whole shooting first thing, aren't you? He muttered. He caught the first 3 bolts in his bare hands, their energy dissipating against his palms. The 4th and 5th he deflected with precise finger flicks, sending them careening into canyon walls. The remaining shots he simply ignored, letting them splash harmlessly against his chest and shoulders. The scout troopers' formation broke immediately. One tried to retreat, his speeder bike spinning around. Another raised his comlink, shouting status reports. The rest just stared. Goku sighed. Okay, look, I really don't want to fight more of you guys. I'm just trying to figure out where I am and how to get home. Can we please talk about this like reasonable people? The lead scout's voice crackled through his helmet speaker. You're the anomaly, the one Lord Vader encountered in Mos Eisley. Yep, that's me. See, we're making progress already. Goku smiled hopefully. So can you maybe not shoot at my new friends here? They're helping me figure things out. Those are rebel insurgents. They're wanted criminals. Criminals? What did they do? Treason against the Empire, terrorism, theft of Imperial property, approximately 47 counts of... We're fighting for freedom, Vex shouted from behind her rock cover. The Empire lies about everything. The scout trooper's blaster pistol swung toward her position. Goku moved, appearing between the trooper and Vex in a flicker of motion that defied tracking. He gently pushed the weapon barrel aside, pointing it toward empty ground. Hey, let's not shoot at people trying to talk, okay? That's just rude. The scout trooper stumbled backward, fell off his speeder bike, and scrambled away. His comrades raised their weapons but didn't fire, fear and training warring in their body language. Lord Vader said you would turn to the rebellion, one scout said, his voice tight with controlled panic. He said you would choose chaos over order. I haven't chosen anything yet, Goku corrected. I'm just listening to different perspectives. Back home, my master taught me that understanding all sides of a conflict is important before you pick a side. There are no sides. There is only the Empire and those who foolishly oppose it. Goku's expression flickered with frustration. See, that's the thing. You keep talking like there's only one right answer, one right way to see things. But every conflict I've been in, both sides thought they were right. Usually, the truth was somewhere in the middle. The Empire brought peace to a galaxy torn by war. By blowing up a planet, Goku interrupted quietly. That captain lady told me about Alderaan. Billions of people. Was that bringing peace? Killing billions? The scout trooper's weapon lowered slightly. That was necessary to end the conflict, to show the rebellion that resistance was futile. And did it end the conflict? Silence answered him. The scout trooper didn't respond. Didn't think so, Goku said gently. Back home, we learned that you can't beat evil by becoming evil yourself. You can't bring peace through terror. It just makes more people hate you. More people want to fight back. He paused. Though I'll admit, I'm still trying to understand this whole situation. Maybe your empire has good reasons I don't know about yet. The Emperor is the supreme authority, the scout trooper recited, as if reading from a manual. His wisdom guides the galaxy. Those who oppose him oppose order itself. Right. Well, I'd like to meet this Emperor person at some point. Hear his side directly. Goku's tone remained friendly, despite the continued weapon presence. But first I'm going to listen to these rebellion folks. Then maybe I'll talk to more Empire people. Then I'll decide what I think. From behind her cover, Vex called out, Goku, we need to leave. Now, more Imperial forces are definitely en route. Okay. Goku turned back to the scout troopers. So, can we go? Or are we going to have to do the whole fighting thing again? Because I really don't want to hurt you guys. You're just doing your jobs, and that's not your fault. The lead scout's helmet turned toward his comrades, some silent communication passing between them. Finally, he lowered his weapon completely. Go. But know this. Lord Vader will find you. The Emperor will learn of you. And when they decide you're a threat to Imperial order, nowhere in this galaxy will be safe. I've heard that before, Goku said with a slight smile. Usually from people who ended up becoming my friends after they realized fighting wasn't going to work. He waved as he turned away. Thanks for not shooting this time. See you around, maybe. Vex grabbed his arm and pulled him toward where Nask was powering up a small transport ship, a battered YT-1300 light freighter that had seen better decades. Are you insane? You just let Imperial scouts go? They'll report our position. Yeah, probably, Goku agreed as they ran up the freighter's boarding ramp. But what was I supposed to do? Hurt them? They weren't trying to kill us. Well, not really hard anyway. They were scared. They're the enemy. Are they? Goku looked genuinely confused. Or are they just people following orders from leaders they trust? There's a difference. The freighter's engines roared to life. Nask's voice crackled over the internal comm. Strapping in. We're about to have company. 3 Imperial patrol ships coming in hot from the north. Vex practically shoved Goku into a seat and buckled herself in across from him. You don't understand this galaxy. The Empire isn't like whatever enemies you fought before. They control everything. The military, the economy, information itself. They've convinced billions of people that tyranny is peace, that oppression is safety. Sounds like what Frieza did, Goku mused as the ship lurched into the sky. He controlled thousands of planets, had armies of soldiers who believed they were bringing order. Took me a long time to understand that sometimes good people can serve evil causes without realizing it. The ship shuddered as blaster fire streaked past the viewport. Nask's piloting threw them into a rolling dive that barely avoided a missile lock. Could use some help up here if our new friend has any tricks for dealing with TIE fighters. Goku unbuckled and headed toward the cockpit. Through the canopy, he could see 3 angular ships pursuing them. TIE fighters, their distinctive solar panels and ball-shaped cockpits, instantly recognizable, even to someone seeing them for the first time. Those are attacking us? Welcome to the rebellion, Vex said grimly. This is our daily life. Running, hiding, fighting impossible odds. Goku watched the TIE fighters maneuver, their laser cannons firing in synchronized patterns. Nask was a skilled pilot, but the freighter was outmatched in speed and firepower. They were taking hits, shields draining with each successful strike. Can you open that door? Goku pointed at the main airlock. In atmosphere? At this altitude? That's suicide. Vex saw his expression and trailed off. You're going to do something crazy, aren't you? Probably, Goku grinned. Just open it when I say, and maybe slow down a little so I don't overshoot. Against every regulation and instinct, Vex moved to the airlock controls. Nask pulled the freighter into a banking climb, trying to gain altitude. The TIE fighters matched them easily, closing the distance. Now, Goku shouted. Vex hit the release. The airlock door blew open, atmosphere screaming out into the thin air at 12,000 feet. Goku stepped into the opening, wind whipping his GI around him, and launched himself into empty sky. To the TIE fighter pilots, it looked like someone had just jumped to their death from a fleeing freighter. They barely had time to process this before the figure stopped falling, hovered in midair for a moment, and then accelerated toward them faster than any human body should survive. Goku reached the first TIE fighter and knocked politely on its cockpit viewport. The pilot inside screamed, jerking his controls so violently the ship spun out and began falling. Goku grabbed the TIE fighter's solar panel and steadied it, actually preventing the crash. Hey, sorry to startle you, he shouted over the wind, but could you stop shooting at my friends, please? The pilot, to his credit, didn't faint. He did, however, reverse thrust and retreat at maximum speed. The second and third TIE fighters broke formation, trying to get targeting locks on this impossible threat. Goku flew circles around them, literally orbiting one TIE, while the pilot spun frantically trying to track him. The other pilot fired, missed, and accidentally clipped his wingman's solar panel. Whoa, careful! Goku darted between them, gently pushing one tie away from collision with the other. You almost crashed into each other. Both pilots made the same decision simultaneously, retreat. They banked hard and screamed back toward their garrison, leaving Goku floating in the sky, scratching his head. Was it something I said? He flew back to the freighter, which was now hovering in place, its crew apparently too shocked to continue flying. Goku knocked on the cockpit canopy. Nask, wide-eyed, opened the airlock again. Did you just pet the TIE fighters? Vex asked weakly as Goku climbed back inside. I just wanted them to stop shooting, Goku said defensively. Nobody had to get hurt. Nask set the ship on autopilot toward their destination and turned to stare at their passenger. Captain Vex, I'm going to be honest. I have no idea what we just recruited, but General Riken is either going to promote you or have you tested for spice addiction. Neither would surprise me at this point, Vex muttered. As they flew toward the rebel rendezvous point, Goku pressed his face against the viewport, watching the alien landscape roll past below. Twin suns setting over endless desert, strange vehicles moving in convoys, a galaxy so vast and complex that he'd barely scratched its surface. So, he said eventually, tell me about this rebellion. What are you really fighting for? And don't give me propaganda. I want the truth, the real reasons. Vex settled into the co-pilot seat, considering her words carefully. Freedom. That's the simple answer. But it's more complicated than that. The Empire, it came to power during a time of chaos. There was a war, the Clone Wars. The galaxy was tearing itself apart between the Republic and separatist forces. When Chancellor Palpatine declared himself Emperor and reorganized everything into the Galactic Empire, a lot of people supported it because they were tired of fighting. So people wanted order, Goku observed. That makes sense. But the price was too high, Vex continued. The Emperor dissolved the Senate, giving himself absolute power. He created the Inquisitorius to hunt down and kill the Jedi, peacekeepers who'd protected the galaxy for thousands of years. He built weapons like the Death Star to rule through fear. Entire species have been enslaved. Worlds that resist are blockaded, starved, or destroyed. And you're fighting to change that. We're fighting to restore the Republic, a democracy where people have voices, where worlds govern themselves. It's not perfect. The old Republic was corrupt, bureaucratic, sometimes paralyzed by its own processes. But it was better than this. Better than living under a dictator who'll kill billions to maintain control. Goku was quiet for a long moment. Back home, we had someone try to take over Earth once. His name was King Piccolo. He ruled through fear, killed anyone who opposed him, claimed he was bringing order. My master died fighting him. I was just a kid, but I had to step up, had to stop him. And did you? Yeah, killed him. Goku's expression was uncharacteristically serious. It was the first time I ever killed someone. Made me sick afterward. But I knew he wouldn't stop, wouldn't change. Sometimes you have to fight to protect people. That's all we're doing, Vex said quietly. Fighting to protect people, to give them a chance at freedom. But Vader said you're terrorists, said you're making things worse by prolonging the conflict. The Empire calls anyone who opposes them terrorists, Nask interjected. They control the information networks. To most people in the galaxy, we're just criminals and malcontents. They don't know about Alderaan's true fate. The Empire claims it was destroyed by a mining accident. They don't know about the slave camps on Kessel or the forced labor programs on dozens of worlds. So it's a propaganda war as much as a military one, Goku mused. That's sneaky. Hard to fight lies when people want to believe them. Exactly. Which is why every victory matters. Every time we strike against the Empire, expose their cruelty, free prisoners or slaves, we show the galaxy that resistance is possible. The freighter broke through cloud cover, revealing a hidden rebel base built into a canyon system. Ships of various makes and models were tucked under camouflage netting. Soldiers, humans and aliens, working side by side, moved with purposeful urgency. As they descended toward the landing pad, Goku could feel hundreds of life energies below. Weak compared to what he was used to, but determined. Frightened, but resolute. These were people who'd chosen to fight despite terrible odds. It reminded him of the Zed fighters, ordinary people standing up to extraordinary threats because someone had to. Okay, Goku said as the ship touched down. I'll listen. I'll learn. But I'm not making any promises about fighting in your war until I understand everything. He looked at Vex seriously. And if I find out you're lying to me, or manipulating me, or not as good as you claim, I'll walk away. Clear? Crystal, Vex replied. That's all we're asking. A chance to show you the truth. The boarding ramp lowered. General Carlos Rican stood waiting, his weathered face betraying surprise at seeing a rebel captain return with someone in an orange G and impossibly messy hair. Captain Vex, your report mentioned an anomaly that engaged Darth Vader and survived. I assume this is... Hi! Goku bounded down the ramp with his usual enthusiasm. I'm Goku. Nice to meet you. He extended his hand. General Riakan, veteran of 100 battles, leader of rebel forces across 3 sectors, shook it automatically and felt his bones creak under the strength of that grip. Welcome to the rebellion, Riakan managed. Something tells me you're going to make things very interesting. I usually do, Goku agreed cheerfully. Across the galaxy, in the throne room of the Death Star 2, Emperor Palpatine watched holographic footage of Goku's encounter with Vader. He watched the warrior catch a lightsaber strike with his bare hand, watched him shrug off Force lightning, watched him fly without technology and show mercy when killing would have been simpler. Interesting, the Emperor whispered, his yellow eyes gleaming. Most interesting indeed. He reached out through the Force, searching for this anomaly's presence, and found nothing. A void where power clearly existed, a hole in the fabric he had spent decades mastering. For the first time in years, Palpatine felt something he'd almost forgotten. Uncertainty, and with it, a predatory interest. Lord Vader, he spoke into his comlink, when you return, we will discuss how best to handle this. Goku, he may yet serve our purposes. One way or another. In the shadowy throne room, the Emperor smiled. Every tool could be used. Every weapon could be wielded. And this warrior, with his power and his naivete, would be no different. The game had merely expanded to include a new piece, and Palpatine had never lost a game he'd chosen to play. The rebel briefing room smelled of recycled air, stale calf, and the particular tension that came from people planning impossible missions. Goku sat at a circular table surrounded by rebel officers, intelligence operatives, and General Riakan himself. Holographic star maps floated above the table's center, showing Imperial and rebel positions throughout the sector, which brings our effective combat strength to approximately 47 fighters, 12 bombers, and 6 capital ships, an analyst was saying. Against the Empire's 3 star destroyers in this sector alone, plus garrison forces on 14 worlds, we're outnumbered roughly 300 to 1. Goku raised his hand like a student in class. Sorry, quick question. What's a star destroyer? Every head in the room turned toward him. General Riakan pulled up a new hologram, a massive wedge-shaped vessel bristling with weapons. Imperial-class star destroyer, 1.6 kilometers long, carries 72 TIE fighters, 28 IT walkers, 30 IT walkers, and over 37,000 personnel. Its turbo laser batteries can reduce a planetary surface to glass. Oh, Goku studied the hologram with interest. That's pretty big. We have anything that size? No, Riakan said bluntly. Our largest ship is a modified corvette that's maybe 1/10 that size. We survive through mobility, intelligence, and striking targets the Empire considers insignificant until it's too late. So you're guerrilla fighters, Goku observed. Hit-and-run tactics. That makes sense when you're outgunned. He leaned forward. But what's the endgame? You can't hit and run forever. Eventually, you need to actually win, right? The room fell silent. Officers exchanged uncomfortable glances. Commander Willard, a scarred veteran with a cybernetic eye, spoke up. The endgame is surviving long enough for the galaxy to wake up. Every Imperial defeat, every exposed atrocity, every freed prisoner, they add up. We're not trying to beat the Empire in a straight fight. We're trying to make them collapse from within. And if they don't collapse, then we die trying, Willard said simply. Better than living under tyranny. Goku nodded slowly, respecting the conviction even if he questioned the strategy. Back home, we had a few wars like this, usually ended when someone strong enough stepped up to challenge the leader directly. Is that an option here? Just go straight for this Emperor guy? The Emperor is protected by layers of security we can't penetrate, Riekin explained. Vader alone is nearly impossible to approach, and he's just one of the Emperor's servants. The Imperial Guard, the Inquisitorius, the combined strength of the Imperial military, they're all designed to ensure no one gets close to Palpatine. But I got close to Vader, Goku pointed out. Fought him pretty evenly. If I went to wherever this Emperor is, you'd be dead before you reached the throne room, Captain Vex interrupted. She'd been standing near the wall, arms crossed, listening to the briefing. Goku, I've seen what you can do. You're incredibly powerful, but you don't understand scale yet. The Emperor has 10,000 ships, millions of soldiers, weapons that can destroy planets. You can't just fly up to him and challenge him to a fair fight. Why not? That's how I handled most of the bad guys back home. Because this isn't a martial arts tournament, Willard snapped, frustration bleeding through. This is war. Galactic scale war. There are no rules, no referees, no second chances. The Emperor would drop a Star Destroyer on you from orbit while you were still looking for the front door. Goku's expression shifted to something more thoughtful. So he doesn't fight fair. Got it. He paused. Though honestly, that makes me respect him less, not more. Strong people who hide behind armies and super weapons always seem kind of cowardly to me. The Emperor isn't concerned with your respect, Riken said. He's concerned with power. Absolute power. And he's wielded it successfully for over 2 decades. A new voice entered the conversation. A young woman with lieutenant insignia, her dark hair pulled back in a severe bun. Sir, incoming transmission. Priority Alpha. It's Princess Leia. The room's atmosphere changed instantly. Officers straightened. Riekan's weathered face showed something between hope and concern. Put her through. The hologram shifted, replacing the star maps with the image of a woman in white robes, her hair styled in distinctive side buns. Even through the blue-tinted hologram, Goku could sense her strength, not physical power, but the kind of inner fortitude that reminded him of Bulma when she was determined about something. General Riekan, Leia's holographic form said, I've received reports about an incident on Tatooine. Something about a warrior engaging Darth Vader and surviving. Please tell me the reports are exaggerated. I wish I could, Your Highness. Captain Vex brought him to this base. He's sitting right here, actually. Leia's holographic gaze shifted to Goku, who waved cheerfully. Hi, I'm Goku. You're a princess? Princess Leia Organa of Alderaan, she replied, studying him with sharp intelligence. Or what's left of Alderaan. The Empire destroyed my homeworld 3 years ago. Killed my parents, my people, everyone I'd ever known. Over 2 billion lives, ended in an instant to demonstrate Imperial power. Goku's friendly expression faded. I'm sorry, I can't imagine losing everyone like that. Most people can't, Leia said. But that's what we're fighting against. That's what the Empire does to worlds that resist, that harbor rebels, that simply exist inconveniently. She leaned forward. Captain Vex's report says you fought Vader to a standstill, that you caught his lightsaber with your bare hands and survived Force lightning. Is that accurate? Yeah, pretty much. He's strong, really strong, but I've fought stronger. Then the rebellion needs you, Leia said bluntly. We need people who can stand against Vader, against the Emperor's enforcers. Every time the Empire sends a Sith Lord or an Inquisitor to crush our forces, we lose people we can't replace. If you can fight them, even just distract them, you could save thousands of lives. Goku scratched his head uncomfortably. Look, I get that, and I want to help people. That's kind of what I do. But I'm still trying to understand this whole situation. Back home, jumping into conflicts I didn't understand usually made things worse, not better. What's there to understand? Leia's voice hardened. The Empire is a fascist dictatorship built on slavery, genocide, and fear. We're fighting to restore freedom and democracy. It's not complicated. Maybe not for you, Goku replied gently, but I just got here. I don't know the history, don't know all the players, don't understand what this galaxy was like before the Empire or what you're trying to restore. All I know right now is that one side blows up planets and the other side is fighting them. That's a start, but it's not the whole picture. Leia's holographic form was silent for a moment. When she spoke again, her tone was slightly softer. You're right, I apologize for pushing. We're desperate. We've been desperate for years. When someone with your apparent capabilities appears, it's easy to see you as a solution rather than a person. She paused. But I mean what I said. The Empire will destroy this galaxy if unchecked, and time is something we don't have in abundance. I understand, Goku said, and I promise I'll make a decision soon. But it has to be the right decision, not just the fast one. The hologram flickered. I'll be arriving at your position within 3 standard days. Perhaps we can discuss this further in person. General Racken, continue with Operation Starfall as planned. We can't afford delays based on uncertain variables. Understood, Your Highness. The transmission ended. Goku looked around at the assembled officers. She seems nice, intense, but nice, and she's really dedicated to this fight. Princess Leia lost everything to the Empire, Vex explained quietly, her entire world. She has every reason to fight. Yeah, I got that. Goku stood, stretching. So what's Operation Starfall? The officers exchanged glances. Riken considered, then apparently decided transparency was the better approach. We've learned the Empire is transferring a high-value prisoner between facilities. Someone with technical knowledge about the Death Star 2, the second planet-destroying superweapon they're building. If we can extract this prisoner, we might gain intelligence that could help us destroy the weapon before it's completed. Sounds important, Goku acknowledged. Where's the prisoner being held? On an Imperial Star Destroyer, currently in hyperspace, the Subjugator under the command of Admiral Nels. It'll revert to real space in 72 hours at a checkpoint station in the Corva sector. Goku blinked. You're planning to attack a Star Destroyer? The giant ship you just showed me? With your 47 fighters? Not attack, infiltrate. We have an operative with access codes and Imperial credentials who can get a small team aboard during the transfer window. They extract the prisoner and escape before the Empire realizes what happened. That sounds really dangerous. It is, Willard confirmed. Mortality rate for this kind of operation is about 60%. But the intelligence is worth it. And you do this regularly? Risk your people on 60% death missions? We do what we must, Riken said. Every piece of intelligence, every freed prisoner, every small victory, they matter. Even when the cost is high. Goku looked around the room, seeing the determination in their faces mixed with the exhaustion. These people had been fighting a losing war for years, sacrificing constantly, dying frequently, and still they continued. It reminded him of the fighters who'd stood against Frieza on Namek, outmatched, outgunned, but refusing to surrender. I want to help, he said finally, with this Operation Starfall thing, but I have conditions. We're listening, Ryukin replied carefully. First, no lying to me about what we're doing or why. Second, we try not to kill people unless there's absolutely no other choice. Third, if I think the mission's going wrong, or you're doing something I can't support, I pull out. I won't abandon you in the middle of a fight, but I won't stay if things cross a line. Those are reasonable conditions, Riken said slowly. Though I should warn you, on a Star Destroyer full of Imperial personnel, avoiding casualties may be impossible. I've done harder thing, Goku replied with a slight grin. Besides, I'm really good at sneaking when I need to be. Kind of. Sometimes. Okay, I'm terrible at sneaking, but I'm great at getting out of trouble when sneaking fails. Despite the tension, several officers chuckled. Vex stepped forward. I'll accompany him. Make sure he understands Imperial protocols and ship layouts. Plus, someone needs to keep him from trying to spar with every stormtrooper we encounter. Hey, I only did that once, Goku protested. You've been in this galaxy for 6 hours. Fair point, Ryukin nodded. Very well. Captain Vex, you'll brief Goku on Imperial procedures and basic galactic knowledge. We have 3 days before the operation launches. Use them wisely. He turned to Goku. I don't know what brought you to this galaxy, warrior, but I'm grateful you're willing to help. The rebellion can use all the strength we can get. Just doing what feels right, Goku said simply. But I've got a question. While I'm here helping you, can you help me figure out how to get home? I've got friends and family back on Earth. My wife's probably freaking out by now. We'll do what we can, Riken promised. Our scientists will analyze whatever phenomenon brought you here. If there's a way back, we'll find it. Thanks, that means a lot. As the briefing dispersed, Goku found himself walking the base's corridors with Captain Vex. Rebel soldiers stopped to stare as they passed. Word had already spread about the warrior who'd fought Vader. Some looked hopeful. Others seemed skeptical. A few looked terrified, as if Goku might spontaneously explode. You're making quite an impression, Vex observed. I usually do, though normally it's more, wow, he's strong, and less, wow, he might get us all killed. Can you blame them? We're a desperate organization, bringing in an unknown variable, someone powerful enough to challenge Vader. It's either going to save us or doom us. There's no middle ground. They reached the base's mess hall, where off-duty personnel were eating rations that looked substantially less appetizing than Earth food. Goku's stomach growled audibly. When's dinner? I haven't eaten since before I ended up here. Vex checked her chrono. Mess hall serves for another hour, though I should warn you, rebel rations aren't exactly gourmet. I'm not picky, Goku assured her, already heading toward the serving line. 20 minutes later, Vex watched in horrified fascination as Goku demolished his 7th tray of food. Around them, rebel soldiers had gathered to watch, some placing bets on how much he could eat. How are you doing this? Vex asked weakly. That's enough food for a full squad. Scion metabolism, Goku explained between bites. We burn through energy really fast, especially after fighting. Plus, I haven't eaten all day. This is actually pretty restrained for me. A young rebel pilot, barely out of his teens, approached the table nervously. Excuse me, sir, are you really the one who fought Darth Vader? Yep, though you don't need to call me sir. Just Goku is fine. Is it true you caught his lightsaber? With your hand? Yeah, though it was pretty hot. Wouldn't recommend trying it without a lot of training first. The pilot's eyes were wide with something between awe and disbelief. I've seen Vader kill 3 people with a gesture. He force-choked them from across a room. And you just fought him like it was nothing? It wasn't nothing, Goku corrected gently. He's really strong. His techniques are excellent, and that force energy he uses is no joke. He's just not the strongest person I've ever fought. So I knew how to handle him. Who was the strongest? Another rebel asked, drawn into the conversation. Goku considered. Probably Beerus. He's a god, like an actual god of destruction. When we first fought, he could have destroyed my entire solar system with a thought. Or maybe Jiren, this warrior from another universe who was so strong that even my ultra instinct form barely beat him. He paused, though Frieza at his peak was pretty terrifying too. And Majin Buu could have destroyed the Earth if we hadn't stopped him. The gathered rebels stared at him in silence. These weren't boasts. Goku spoke about fighting gods and universal threats the same way someone might discuss their daily commute. Captain Vex leaned close and whispered, "You're either the best thing that ever happened to the rebellion, or you're going to give everyone unrealistic expectations about what's possible." Probably both, Goku admitted cheerfully, starting on his 8th tray. Across the galaxy, aboard the Executor, Darth Vader stood in his meditation chamber, the pod sealed against all outside interference. He replayed the encounter with Goku in his mind, analyzing every movement, every technique, every displayed capability. The warrior was powerful, perhaps the most physically powerful being Vader had encountered since before his transformation on Mustafar. But power alone wasn't insurmountable. Every being had weaknesses. Every technique had counters. Vader reached out through the Force, not searching for Goku directly. That had proven impossible, but rather feeling the ripples his presence created. The rebellion's excitement, the Empire's concern. The Emperor's interest. That last one worried him most. When the Emperor took personal interest in something, it usually meant someone would suffer greatly, and Vader had learned never to assume he wouldn't be that someone. His meditation was interrupted by a communication alert. The Emperor himself was calling. "Master," Vader said, kneeling before the holographic projection of Palpatine's hooded form. "Lord Vader, I have reviewed your report on the anomaly called Goku. Most intriguing. A being of such power, yet completely divorced from the Force. It defies everything we understand about the nature of strength in this galaxy. He claimed to come from another world, my master, one called Earth. No such planet exists in Imperial records. Because it doesn't exist in this galaxy, Palpatine replied, his voice carrying the weight of certainty. This warrior is extragalactic, perhaps even extra-dimensional, a breach in the fabric of reality itself. Then he is a threat, or an opportunity. The Emperor's hologram leaned forward. Think, my apprentice, a being of immense power who is naive about our galaxy's politics, who possesses a childlike moral code that can be shaped, who lacks the Force's wisdom but carries raw strength that could reshape entire conflicts. You wish to turn him, Vader realized. I wish to use him. Whether that requires turning him to the dark side or simply manipulating his naive heroism, either approach serves our purposes. Palpatine's yellow eyes gleamed. The rebellion will see him as a weapon against us. They will try to aim him at Imperial targets, use his power for their feudal cause. But we can turn that against them. Show him the rebellion's failures, their costs, their inevitable defeat. Offer him what he truly wants: challenges, opponents, the thrill of battle. He showed mercy on Tatooine, Vader countered. He refused to kill Imperial soldiers. Such weakness suggests light side tendencies. Mercy is not weakness, my apprentice. It's merely selectivity, and selective mercy can be redirected. The Emperor's tone carried dark amusement. Besides, those who start with mercy are often the most devastating when that mercy is exhausted. Break his naive beliefs, show him that sometimes slaughter is necessary, and he'll become a weapon beyond anything we've wielded before. And if he cannot be turned, then he'll die, Palpatine said simply. But I think he can be turned. Do you know what I sensed in your report, Lord Vader? Loneliness. He speaks of a wife, of friends, of a homeworld. He's been ripped away from everything familiar and dropped into a galaxy he doesn't understand. Isolated beings are vulnerable beings. Offer him purpose, offer him belonging, and he'll come to us willingly. Vader considered his master's words. The strategy was sound. Palpatine had spent decades manipulating Force-sensitive beings, turning their strengths into chains. But something about Goku troubled him. The warrior's power was immense, yes, but more concerning was his unpredictability. He didn't follow patterns Vader recognized. I will observe him further, Vader said finally. Learn his weaknesses. When the time is right, I will bring him before you. Excellent. The rebellion's Operation Starfall will provide an opportunity. I'm aware of their plans. Admiral Nels has been most cooperative in laying the trap. When Goku and his rebel companions attempt their infiltration, we'll be waiting. And we'll show this naive warrior exactly what happens to those who oppose the Empire. As you wish, my master. The transmission ended. Vader stood slowly, processing the Emperor's commands. Operation Starfall was a trap. The prisoner the rebels sought was bait, the intelligence false. The entire scenario designed to crush rebel hopes. And now Goku would walk into it, trusting the rebellion's intelligence, trusting that his strength would be enough. Vader almost felt sympathy for the warrior. Almost. In the rebel base, Goku finished his 9th tray of food and finally leaned back, satisfied. Around him, the gathered rebels had grown from curious observers to something else. People desperate for hope, latching on to this strange warrior who spoke casually about fighting gods. So you'll really help us? The young pilot asked. With the mission? I said I would, Goku confirmed, though I'm still learning about all this. Captain Vex is going to teach me about your empire and how things work in this galaxy. The Empire is evil, another rebel said flatly. That's all you need to know. Goku's expression turned serious. Maybe, but evil is what you do, not what you call yourself. I've met people who thought they were heroes while doing terrible things. And I've met people who called themselves villains while saving lives. So yeah, I'll help you with this mission. But I'm going to keep my eyes open and make my own judgments. The rebels exchanged uncertain glances, not sure whether to be encouraged or worried by this response. Captain Vex stood. Come on, Goku! Let's get you settled in quarters and start your education about the galaxy you've landed in. You've got 3 days to learn several thousand years of history. Sounds fun. Goku hopped up, following her. Though I should warn you, I'm not great with history lessons. I usually fall asleep when people lecture for too long. Then I'll keep it interesting, Vex promised. As they left the mess hall, neither noticed the small maintenance droid in the corner. Its optical sensors tracking Goku's every movement, transmitting data back to an Imperial relay station light years away. The Emperor's eyes were everywhere, and his patience was infinite. The game had begun, and Goku, powerful as he was, didn't even know he was playing. 3 days passed faster than Goku expected. Captain Vex proved to be a patient teacher, walking him through the complex history of the galaxy, the rise and fall of the Old Republic, the Clone Wars, and the Empire's emergence from the ashes of democracy. Goku absorbed what he could, though his attention wandered during lengthy political explanations. What stuck with him were the stories, the personal accounts. A mechanic who'd lost his family when the Empire nationalized his homeworld's resources. A former Imperial officer who'd defected after being ordered to execute prisoners. A child refugee from Alderaan who'd been off-world when her planet died. The rebellion wasn't just an organization. It was thousands of personal tragedies unified by hope for something better. Now standing in the cramped cargo hold of a commandeered Lambda-class shuttle, Goku adjusted the Imperial officer's uniform Vex had convinced him to wear. It felt restrictive compared to his GI, and the hat kept sliding off his hair. "Stop fidgeting," Vex hissed. She wore the uniform of an Imperial Security Bureau agent, complete with forged credentials and a cover identity. "You're supposed to be Commander Keller, a fighter tactics specialist being transferred to the subjugator for consultation. Act like you belong there." "I've never been good at acting," Goku admitted, pulling at the uniform's collar. "Usually I just am, wherever I am, you know." Beside them, the team's slicer, a Twi'lek named Saval with exceptional hacking skills, worked on a datapad, running final checks on their forged access codes. "Credentials are solid. The Empire's own systems will verify us as legitimate transfers. But the moment anything goes wrong, those same systems will lock us out and alert every stormtrooper on the ship." "So don't let anything go wrong," Goku said. "Got it." "He makes it sound so simple," muttered the fourth team member, Corporal Dex, a rebel commando whose scarred face and cybernetic arm testified to years of hard combat. "We're infiltrating a Star Destroyer with 5,000 Imperial personnel, extracting a prisoner from their detention block, and escaping before they realize what happened. Nothing about this is simple." The shuttle shuddered as it dropped out of hyperspace. Through the viewport, the subjugator came into view. An Imperial-class Star Destroyer hanging in space like a dagger pointed at the stars. Goku pressed his face against the transparasteel, eyes wide. "Okay, that's way bigger in person than the hologram made it look." 1.6 kilometers of Imperial engineering, Saval confirmed. 72 TIE fighters, thousands of troops, and enough firepower to level a continent. And we're flying straight toward it in a stolen shuttle. "They won't know it's stolen," Vex reminded them. "Our intelligence confirmed this shuttle's transponder codes are still active. As far as Imperial systems are concerned, we're legitimate." Goku could feel it now. Thousands of life energies concentrated in the massive ship. None particularly strong by his standards, but the sheer quantity was impressive. And somewhere among them, one energy signature stood out slightly. Not much, but enough to notice. "There's someone powerful on that ship," he said quietly. "Not Vader level, but stronger than the regular soldiers." Vex's expression tightened. "Inquisitor. The intelligence didn't mention one being aboard, but they sometimes travel without announcement. Damn. What's an Inquisitor?" "Force-sensitive agents trained by Vader himself to hunt surviving Jedi," Saval explained, his leku twitching nervously. "They're not as powerful as Sith Lords, but they're far more dangerous than anything else we'll encounter on that ship." "So, like mini-Vaders?" "Close enough. If one detects us, we'll handle it," Goku said confidently. "I handled Vader, right?" "You fought him on a planet where you could retreat or maneuver freely," Vex countered. "On a Star Destroyer, we're trapped in corridors with limited escape routes. Fighting draws attention. Attention means failure. Failure means death." "Then we won't fight unless we have to," Goku agreed, But if we do have to, I've got your backs. The shuttle approached the Star Destroyer's hangar bay, passing through the magnetic containment field. Imperial efficiency was on full display. TIE fighters arranged in precise rows, stormtroopers marching in formation, officers barking orders. Everything moved with clockwork precision. Landing Bay 7 Alpha, Vex murmured, checking their datapad. We're cleared for docking. Remember, walk with purpose, act like you belong, and don't make eye contact with anyone higher ranking than your cover identity. The shuttle settled onto the deck with a gentle hiss of landing gear. Goku felt his stomach tighten, not from fear but from the tension radiating from his companions. They were terrified, he realized, absolutely terrified. And yet they were doing this anyway. That took a different kind of courage than fighting, the courage to be afraid and act regardless. The boarding ramp lowered. An Imperial deck officer approached with a datapad, flanked by 2 stormtroopers. Transfer shuttle from Coruscant Command. Transmit your clearance codes. Saval handed over the forged credentials. The deck officer scanned them, his expression bored. Around them, the hangar bustled with activity. Technicians servicing TIE fighters, cargo loaders moving supplies, officers inspecting formations. Commander Keller, ISB Agent Vex, Technical Specialist Saval, and the officer looked at Corporal Dex. Security Escort Dex. Your credentials check out. Purpose of transfer? Classified consultation regarding fighter tactics improvement, Vex stated crisply, her tone brooking no argument. Priority authorization from ISB Command? We're expected in Conference Room 12. Of course. The deck officer didn't question further. ISB agents were feared throughout the Empire, their authority superseding normal chains of command. Proceed to the Turbo Lift Bank, Section 4. Your clearance codes will grant access to all authorized zones. Goku forced himself to walk normally, matching Vex's confident stride as they crossed the hangar bay. Every instinct screamed at him to look around, to gawk at the alien technology and massive scale. Instead, he kept his eyes forward, mimicking the purposeful indifference of Imperial officers around them. They reached the turbo lift without incident. The doors hissed closed, sealing them in the small compartment. Saval immediately pulled out his datapad, slicing into the ship's internal network. We're in, he whispered. Detention block AA-23, level 17. Our target, Dr. Nabare Savan, chief engineer on the Death Star project, is being held in cell 12. 2 guards outside, standard security protocols. Route? Dex asked, checking his concealed blaster. Service corridors minimize exposure to personnel. Should encounter minimal resistance if we move quickly. The turbo lift descended through the Star Destroyer's levels. Goku watched the floor indicators, sensing the life energies around them shift and change. So many people all going about their duties, unaware that infiltrators move through their ship. That strong presence I felt earlier, Goku said quietly. It's moving, getting closer to our position. Vex's jaw tightened. The Inquisitor. Can you tell where? Goku closed his eyes, focusing. 3 levels down, heading toward the detention blocks. Wait. His eyes snapped open. I think they know we're here. Impossible, Saval insisted. Our credentials are... The turbo lift lurched to a stop. Emergency lights flared red. Throughout the ship, klaxons began wailing. Attention all personnel, a voice crackled over the intercom. Security breach detected. Intruders aboard, posing as transfer personnel. Seal all sections. Initiate lockdown protocol. Blast! Vex drew her blaster. It was a trap. They knew we were coming. Dex slammed his fist against the turbo lift controls. We're stuck between floors. They'll gas us or cut through the doors in minutes. Goku looked up at the turbo lift's ceiling access panel. Can we climb out? Into the turbo lift shaft? Saval's Leku twitched frantically. That's a 17-level drop if we fall. Good thing I can fly, Goku said cheerfully, ripping the access panel off. Come on, I'll carry you all. Carry? We're in the middle of a ship in space. Flying doesn't work in... Goku floated upward, his body rising through the access hatch without any visible means of propulsion. He looked down at their stunned faces. It's Kai flight. Works pretty much everywhere I've tried. Now come on, we don't have time to explain physics. Vex made a command decision. Everyone up. Now! They scrambled through the access hatch into the turbo lift shaft. Emergency lighting cast everything in harsh red shadows. Above and below, the shaft stretched into darkness. Goku grabbed Vex and Saval, while Dex clung to his back. The combined weight would have crushed a normal person. To Goku, it was barely noticeable. Which way to the detention block? Down, Saval gasped, pointing. 17 levels down. Goku descended rapidly, controlling his flight to avoid hitting the shaft's walls. His companions clung to him with white-knuckled desperation. Through the shaft's maintenance access points, he could hear stormtroopers mobilizing, boots pounding on deck plating, officers shouting orders. "They're sealing every section," Vex said urgently. "Even if we reach Dr. Sovin, we'll never make it back to the hangar." "We'll figure that out after we get her," Goku replied. "One problem at a time." They reached level 17. Goku used his free hand to pry open the turbolift doors, revealing a corridor filled with stormtroopers establishing a perimeter around the detention block entrance. "Blast," Dex muttered. 20 troopers plus the automated defenses. We're not sneaking through that." "Then we don't sneak," Goku said. Before anyone could stop him, he'd set his companions down and stepped into the corridor. "Hey, sorry about the confusion, but we really need to get into that detention block. Can you guys maybe let us through?" 20 blaster rifles swung toward him simultaneously. "Intruders! Open fire!" The corridor erupted with crimson energy bolts. Goku sighed, deflecting them with casual hand movements. "I was really hoping we could talk about this." He moved, not with his full speed, that would be showing off, but fast enough that the stormtroopers couldn't track him properly. He disarmed the first trooper with a gentle tap to the wrist, caught the falling rifle, and used it as an improvised bat to knock weapons from other troopers' hands. Within 10 seconds, all 20 stormtroopers were disarmed and thoroughly confused. "Sorry about this," Goku said, using pressure points he'd learned from Master Roshi to render them unconscious without serious injury. "You're just doing your jobs, nothing personal." Vex, Saval, and Dex emerged from the turbolift shaft, staring at the pile of unconscious stormtroopers. "That shouldn't be possible," Dex managed. "I get that a lot. Come on, let's get your engineer and figure out how to escape." Saval rushed to the detention block controls, his fingers flying over the access panel. "Security's locked down, but I can slice through." "Wait, the cell's already open. Someone beat us to it." The detention block doors hissed open, revealing an empty cell and 2 dead guards. Standing over them, lightsaber humming with malevolent energy, was a figure in black armor. Not Vader, but something similar. An Inquisitor, their double-bladed lightsaber spinning in a display of casual threat. "The rebellion sends warriors and thieves," the Inquisitor said, their voice distorted through their helmet. "How predictable, and how futile." Behind the Inquisitor, a middle-aged woman in prisoner's clothing huddled against the wall. Dr. Sovin, presumably. She looked terrified. "We're here for the doctor," Goku said, stepping forward. "Let her go and nobody else has to get hurt." The Inquisitor laughed. "You believe you can threaten me? I am trained in the dark side of the Force, weapon of the Emperor's will. You are nothing. I'm Goku, and I'm having a really frustrating day." He cracked his knuckles. "So can we skip the villain speech and either fight or let us leave?" The Inquisitor's spinning lightsaber stilled. You're the anomaly. Vader's report mentioned you, a being without Force presence, yet possessing impossible power." The helmet tilted. "The Emperor wants you brought before him, alive if possible, dead if necessary." "Yeah, everyone keeps wanting me to meet their boss," Goku replied. "I'll get around to it eventually. Right now I'm busy." The Inquisitor attacked without further warning. Their double-bladed lightsaber became a wheel of plasma death, each strike designed to overwhelm through speed and unpredictability. The Form 7. Yuyo techniques were aggressive, passionate, drawing on dark side fury. Goku dodged the first 3 strikes, analyzing the pattern. Similar to Vader's style but less controlled, more wild. Powerful but telegraphed. When the 4th strike came, he caught the lightsaber blade between his palms, stopping it cold. "Interesting weapon," he observed, holding the plasma blade without flinching. "But the spinning thing makes you predictable. You're committed to the rotation. can't easily change direction mid-swing. The Inquisitor tried to yank their weapon free and failed. Goku's grip might as well have been Durasteel. Impossible! No being can... Goku released the blade and delivered a palm strike to the Inquisitor's chest plate, gentle by his standards, devastating by anyone else's. The Inquisitor flew backward, crashing through the cell wall into the adjacent corridor. Their armor smoked from the impact point. "Vex, get the doctor. We're leaving." Captain Vex rushed into the cell, helping Dr. Sovin to her feet. "Can you run?" "I think so." "What's happening? Who are you people?" "Rebels. We're extracting you. No time for explanations." The Inquisitor rose from the rubble. Their helmet cracked, breathing labored. "You'll never out-escape this ship. Lord Vader himself is en route." Goku's eyes widened slightly. "Vader's coming here? When?" "Already aboard," a familiar mechanical voice answered. The corridor darkened as if light itself retreated. Darth Vader emerged from the shadows, his lightsaber igniting with that distinctive snap hiss. Behind him, two full squads of stormtroopers established positions. "I told you the rebellion offers only death and failure," Vader stated. "Now you understand. This ship is a trap. The prisoner is bait. Your rebel intelligence has been compromised for months. Every operation you've planned, we knew about. Every move you made, we countered." Vex's face went pale. "No, that's not... We were careful." "You were predictable," Vader corrected. "And now you will serve a final purpose, demonstrating to this warrior what happens to those who oppose the Empire." The stormtroopers raised their weapons. The Inquisitors staggered to their feet, lightsaber reigniting. More troops were surely converging from every direction. They were trapped, surrounded, outgunned. Goku stepped forward, placing himself between his companions and Vader. "Let them go. Your fight is with me, right? You want to capture me, bring me to this Emperor. Fine, I'll come quietly, but let the others escape." "No!" Vex grabbed his arm. "Goku, don't..." "How noble," Vader interrupted, "but useless. The rebellion operatives will be executed. Their bodies will be displayed on their hidden base's doorstep. And you will witness what your choice costs them before the Emperor decides your fate." Something shifted in Goku's expression. The friendly curiosity evaporated, replaced by cold focus. "You're really not giving me much choice here." "You never had a choice. From the moment you aligned with the rebellion, your fate was sealed." Goku's power began to rise. Golden energy flickered around his body. Subtle at first, but building steadily. The temperature in the corridor increased. Metal creaked. Stormtroopers stepped backward involuntarily, sensing something primal and dangerous awakening. "I've been holding back," Goku said quietly. "Trying to be careful, trying not to hurt people who were just following orders. But you just threatened to murder my friends to prove a point." His fist clenched. "That's not something I can ignore." Vader felt it through the Force, not the warrior's power directly, but the way reality seemed to bend around him. The dark side whispered warnings, screaming danger in a way Vader hadn't experienced since facing the Emperor himself. "Captain Vex," Goku said without looking back, "get Dr. Sovin and the others to the hangar. I'll keep Vader and his troops busy." "We can't leave you." "You can, and you will. I've fought entire armies before. This is nothing new." A slight grin crossed his face. "Besides, I've been wanting a real fight since I got here. Vader promised me one. Time to see if he can deliver." The golden energy intensified, crackling like lightning around Goku's body. His eyes locked with Vader's mask, warrior to warrior. "So," Goku said, "round two. And this time, I'm not playing around." The corridor exploded into chaos. Vader struck first, his lightsaber cleaving through the air in a devastating overhead slash designed to split Goku from crown to sternum. Simultaneously, he unleashed a force push that would have shattered bulkheads. The combined assault, physical and metaphysical, had killed Jedi Masters. Goku sidestepped the lightsaber and tanked the force push, his feet skidding backwards several inches before he arrested his momentum. The invisible pressure washed over him like a strong wind, uncomfortable, but far from incapacitating. "Better," Goku acknowledged. "You're not holding back this time." Behind him, Vex was already moving. She grabbed Dr. Sovin and pulled her toward a service corridor Saval had mapped earlier. Dex provided covering fire, his blaster bolts forcing stormtroopers to seek cover rather than pursue. All units, priority target is the anomaly, Vader commanded through the ship's comm system. Contain him. Do not allow the rebels to escape. 20 stormtroopers opened fire simultaneously. The corridor became a lattice of crimson energy bolts, a killing field that should have been impossible to survive. Goku blurred into motion, his form barely visible as he wove through the barrage. His hand shot out, catching a stormtrooper's rifle mid-burst and crushing it. A spinning kick disarmed 3 more. A precisely aimed ki blast, weak enough not to kill but strong enough to disable, detonated against a wall panel, showering sparks over a charging squad. The Inquisitor rejoined the fight, their double-bladed lightsaber spinning. They coordinated with Vader, attacking from opposite angles to create an inescapable pincer. Against a normal opponent, the tactic would have been flawless. Goku ducked under the Inquisitor's strike, caught Vader's follow-up slash on his forearm, the lightsaber blade hissing against his skin but not cutting through, and delivered a double palm strike that sent both Force users flying in opposite directions. Your lightsabers can't cut through my Kai reinforcement, Goku explained conversationally. I'm channeling energy through my whole body. It's like armor, but better. Vader crashed through a bulkhead, his armor's damage indicators flashing warnings. The warrior's casual demonstration of superiority grated against decades of assured dominance. Through the Force, Vader reached deeper into the dark side, drawing on pain and rage. The corridor's lighting fixtures exploded. Loose debris rose into the air, metal fragments, broken equipment, chunks of deck plating. Vader hurled them at Goku with lethal velocity, each piece accelerated to bullet-like speeds through telekinetic force. Goku batted them aside, though he had to actually pay attention now. One piece clipped his shoulder, tearing his stolen Imperial uniform. Okay, that one almost got me. You're getting creative. From the service corridor, Vex's voice crackled over a commandeered comm. Goku, we're pinned down at Junction 47. Heavy resistance. On my way, Goku started toward them, but Vader intervened. The Dark Lord appeared directly in his path, lightsaber sweeping in a form V-Gemso power attack. The blow carried enough force to shear through starship armor. Goku caught the blade with 2 fingers, stopping it dead. Sorry, Vader. I really need to help my friends now. We can finish this later. He flicked his fingers. The lightsaber, in Vader's entire arm, were thrown backward by the casual gesture. Before Vader could recover, Goku vanished in a burst of speed that left sonic booms echoing through the corridor. He found Vex, Saval, Dex, and Dr. Sovin trapped at a junction point, surrounded by 30 stormtroopers and 2 AT-ST walkers that had somehow been deployed inside the ship. The walkers' chin-mounted blaster cannons were charging, preparing to reduce the rebels to ash. Goku appeared between the walkers and his companions. Hey, didn't anyone teach you not to shoot at people who can't fight back? Both walkers fired simultaneously. The heavy blaster bolts converged on Goku's position with enough energy to vaporize Durasteel. The Saiyan crossed his arms, ki energy flaring around him in a defensive shell. The blaster fire splashed against his aura harmlessly, dispersing in spectacular light shows. My turn, Goku said. He moved to the first walker, pressed his hands against its armored hull, and lifted. The multi-ton vehicle rose off the ground as if it weighed nothing. Goku spun once and hurled it, gently, by his standards, through a bulkhead into an empty cargo bay. The walker crashed but remained intact, its crew shaken but alive. The second walker's crew, displaying admirable courage or suicidal stupidity, continued firing. Goku sighed, grabbed the walker's leg and flipped the entire vehicle upside down. It crashed onto its back, legs flailing uselessly. Sorry about your vehicles, Goku called to the stunned stormtroopers. But you guys really need to stop shooting at people. It's not nice. A blaster bolt struck him in the back. He turned to see a particularly brave or foolish trooper still firing. The bolt had singed his exposed skin. Not hurt exactly, but enough to notice. Okay, that actually stung a little. You're using different weapons than before? Heavy repeating blasters, Dex explained, helping Dr. Sovin to her feet. Designed for anti-vehicle work, more powerful than standard rifles. Huh, good to know. Goku's expression became more serious as additional troops flooded the junction from 3 different corridors. This wasn't just ship security anymore. These were heavy assault units, carrying weapons designed to breach bunkers. How far to the hangar? 12 sections, Saval replied, his voice tight with panic, through corridors that are now sealed. Goku, even you can't get us through. I can if you trust me. Goku looked at Vex. Can you override the doors as we go? Maybe, if they haven't changed all the access codes, but then that's the plan. Saval opens doors, I clear the path. Ready? Before anyone could argue, Goku scooped up all 4 of them, Dr. Sovin in one arm, the others clinging to his back and shoulders, and launched forward at a run. Not his full speed, which would have liquefied unprotected humans, but fast enough that the corridor became a blur. Stormtroopers attempted to form firing lines. Goku ran through them, his Kai-reinforced body bowling them over without slowing. Automated turrets emerged from ceiling compartments, tracking his movement. He deflected their fire with one hand while maintaining his grip on his passengers with the other. A blast door slammed shut ahead of them. Saval barely managed to slice it open before they reached it. Another corridor, more troops, another blast door. The pattern repeated, a desperate race through the Star Destroyer's guts with thousands of Imperial personnel converging from every direction. This is insane, Dr. Sovin screamed over the wind of their passage. Who are you people? Rebels who make terrible life choices, Vex shouted back. And I'm Goku. Nice to meet you. Behind them, Darth Vader pursued with relentless determination. He couldn't match Goku's raw speed, but the Force showed him shortcuts, predicted trajectories. He moved through the ship's superstructure, cutting through bulkheads with his lightsaber, taking routes that no normal being could traverse. They burst into the main hangar bay to find it transformed into a kill zone. 8 AT-walkers flanked the entrance. Stormtroopers filled every available position. TIE fighters hovered on repulsor lift engines, their laser cannons trained on the Lambda shuttle that represented their only escape. And standing at the hangar's center, lightsaber ignited in cape billowing in the artificial atmosphere, was Darth Vader. You cannot escape, Vader stated. Surrender now, or watch your companions die. Goku set his passengers down behind a stack of cargo containers, giving them cover. Get to the shuttle, I'll buy you time. There's too many, Dex protested. Even for you. I said I've got this. Goku's expression was calm, focused. Trust me. He walked into the hangar's center, the massive space suddenly feeling claustrophobic despite its size. Every weapon tracked his movement. Vader stood perfectly still, a pillar of dark side energy and mechanical breathing. Last chance, Goku offered. Let us leave. Nobody else has to get hurt. You misunderstand your position, Vader replied. You are outnumbered 5,000 to 1 on a ship you cannot escape. Your physical power is meaningless against such odds. You really think numbers matter? Goku's aura began to manifest visibly, golden energy crackling around his body. Back home, I fought an entire army once. Red Ribbon Army, thousands of soldiers, hundreds of weapons. I was just a kid then. His power continued rising, the air growing hot. I'm a lot stronger now. The AT-AT walkers fired. Massive laser cannons designed to destroy fortifications unleashed their payload simultaneously. The hangar erupted in blinding light and heat. The cargo containers Vex and the others hid behind began to melt from proximity to the energy discharge. When the light cleared, Goku stood in a crater of molten deck plating. His uniform burned away to reveal his orange gi underneath. His skin was reddened but unbroken. Golden energy surrounded him like a second skin. Okay, Goku said quietly. That one actually hurt. Now I'm mad. He moved. Not a run or a dash, but instantaneous translocation of position. One moment he stood in the crater, the next he was beside the first AT-AT. He punched through its armored leg, not destroying it, but disabling it. The massive walker toppled sideways with grinding metal screams. Before it hit the ground, Goku was at the second AT-AT, delivering the same precise strike. Then the third. Within 3 seconds, all 4 walkers were disabled, their crews shaken but alive inside their toppled vehicles. The stormtroopers opened fire as one. Hundreds of blaster bolts converged on Goku's position. He didn't dodge. Instead, he spun in place, creating a vortex of Kai energy that deflected the incoming fire in every direction. The deflected bolts struck walls, ceilings, empty space, everywhere except living beings. "I don't want to kill you," Goku shouted over the weapon's fire, "but I will protect my friends. Stand down." No one stood down. Discipline or fear, probably both, kept the Imperial forces firing. Their training demanded they fight until ordered otherwise, and Vader had given no such order. Vader himself watched with cold calculation. The warrior's power was even greater than initially assessed. His speed bordered on precognitive. His durability exceeded any known species or enhancement. His energy manipulation, this key, functioned as both offense and defense in ways that made Force abilities seem limited by comparison. But power had weaknesses. Every technique had limitations. Vader reached out through the Force, not targeting Goku directly, that had proven ineffective, but instead targeting the Lambda shuttle. Through telekinesis, he began crushing its engines, its hyperdrive, its structural supports. Goku sensed the shift in energy. He spun to see the shuttle crumpling like paper in an invisible fist. "No!" He rocketed toward the ship, but Vader was faster. The Dark Lord appeared via Force-assisted jump, intercepting Goku mid-flight. Their collision sent shockwaves through the hangar. Vader swung his lightsaber in a vicious arc, not trying to kill but to delay. Every second the warrior spent fighting was another second the shuttle was being destroyed. "You think your power makes you invincible," Vader growled, pressing his assault. "But you're alone. The rebellion is weak. The Empire is eternal. You cannot save everyone." Goku blocked the lightsaber strikes, frustration building. Vader was right. He couldn't be in two places at once. Couldn't protect the shuttle and fight simultaneously. Couldn't... Wait. An idea formed. Risky, but possible. Goku's fingers found his forehead in the familiar instant transmission stance. He locked onto Vex's energy signature, weak but distinct, and teleported directly to her position behind the cargo containers. "Everyone grab on, now!" They barely had time to register his appearance before grabbing whatever part of him they could reach. Goku focused, sensing energy signatures throughout the hangar. He needed something outside the ship, far enough away that Vader couldn't immediately follow. There, a small transport pod launched from the Star Destroyer 5 minutes ago, probably reconnaissance. Close enough to reach, far enough to escape. Goku concentrated, locking onto that distant energy signature, and teleported. The hangar erupted in confusion. One moment the targets were there, the next they simply vanished. No ship, no explosion, no trace. Vader's lightsaber lowered slowly. His mechanical breathing filled the sudden silence. "Impossible. My lord," an officer ventured cautiously. They disappeared. Sensors show no escape vector, no ship departure. They're simply gone." Through the Force, Vader searched for any trace of the warrior's presence. Nothing. The void where Goku existed had vanished entirely, leaving no trail to follow. For the second time in 3 days, Prey had escaped Darth Vader. Not through superior fighting, not through clever tactics, but through an ability the Dark Lord didn't fully understand and couldn't counter. "Alert all Imperial forces," Vader commanded, his voice carrying barely restrained fury. "The anomaly called Goku possesses instantaneous translocation capabilities. No location is secure while he remains at large. Increase security at all strategic installations, and inform the Emperor. The warrior is more dangerous than we anticipated." In the small transport pod drifting through space several thousand kilometers from the subjugator, 5 people materialized in a tangle of limbs and panicked breathing. The pod's single occupant, a very confused Imperial scout, screamed. Goku raised his hands apologetically. "Sorry, emergency situation. Mind if we borrow your ship?" 30 seconds later, the scout was secured in the pod's cargo compartment, unharmed but thoroughly bewildered, and Vex was piloting them toward the nearest rebel rendezvous coordinates. What did you do?" Dr. Sovan asked, still gripping a support rail with white knuckles. "We were on a Star Destroyer. Now we're in space. How is that possible?" "Instant transmission," Goku explained. It's a technique I learned from some aliens back home. Lock onto someone's energy signature and teleport to them. Pretty handy in emergencies. You can teleport? Vex's voice cracked. And you didn't mention this before? Didn't seem relevant until now. I usually only use it for traveling long distances or getting out of really bad situations. This was a really bad situation. Yeah, but I wanted to try the normal escape first. Instant transmission can be tricky. If I miscalculate the energy signature or destination, we could end up in a star or in deep space or something. The others stared at him in horror. But we didn't, Goku added cheerfully. So it worked out fine. Saval was running diagnostics on the stolen pod systems. We have maybe 3 hours of life support and enough fuel for one hyperspace jump. After that, we're dead in space. Then we better make the jump count, Vex said. She entered coordinates for a rebel safe haven 2 systems away. Dr. Sovan, once we reach base, you'll brief Alliance Command on everything you know about the Death Star project. The doctor nodded weakly. The Empire, they knew you were coming. This was all a trap. We figured that out, Dex muttered, checking his weapons. Question is, how much of our intelligence is compromised? If they knew about this operation, what else do they know? Everything, Vex said grimly. We have to assume they know everything. Our bases, our personnel, our plans, all compromised. Then the rebellion is in serious trouble, Dr. Sovan observed. The rebellion's always in serious trouble, Vex replied. We just adapt and survive. Goku looked out the viewport at the stars streaming past. Behind them, the subjugator was a distant speck, already receding into the void. He'd fought Vader twice now, twice escaped, but both times felt less like victories and more like postponed confrontations. The Empire was stronger than he'd initially understood. Not just in military might, he could handle armies, but in scope and reach. They controlled information, influenced billions of lives, and possessed patience to orchestrate traps months in advance. This wasn't like fighting Frieza or Cell. Those were enemies he could punch until they stopped being problems. The Empire was a system, vast and entrenched. How did you punch a system? Hey, Vex, Goku said quietly. If your intelligence is compromised, what happens to all the other rebel operations? The other people counting on that information? Vex's expression darkened. They walk into traps, get captured, die. She met his gaze. Why do you think we're so desperate? Every day we lose people. Good people. People who believe they were fighting for something better. And you keep fighting anyway. What else can we do? Give up? Let the Empire win? Let Alderaan's destruction mean nothing? She shook her head. We fight because someone has to, even when it's hopeless. Especially when it's hopeless. Goku understood that. He'd faced hopeless situations before, fought enemies that logic said he couldn't beat. Sometimes fighting wasn't about winning. It was about refusing to surrender. Okay, he said finally. I'll help you. Not just with one mission or one fight. I'll help the rebellion until we figure out how to stop the Empire. Everyone in the pod turned to look at him. You're sure? Vex asked carefully. Because once you commit to this, the Empire will never stop hunting you. They'll throw everything they have at you. Vader, the Emperor, entire fleets. There's no going back. I've made up my mind, Goku replied. What the Empire's doing, destroying planets, killing billions, ruling through fear, that's evil. Doesn't matter how they justify it or how much they talk about order. Evil is evil. And I've spent my whole life fighting evil. Dr. Soban studied him with scientific interest. You're not from this galaxy, are you? The way you speak about the Empire, your combat capabilities, that teleportation ability, you're something entirely foreign. Yep, accidentally ended up here from my home planet. Haven't figured out how to get back yet. Goku smiled slightly. But until I do, might as well make myself useful. The rebellion could use someone useful, Dex said gruffly, especially someone who can embarrass Vader twice in 1 week. The pod's navicomputer beeped, indicating the hyperspace jump was ready. Vex's hand hovered over the controls. Last chance to change your mind, Goku. Once we jump to rebel space, you're officially an enemy of the Empire. They'll brand you a terrorist, put a bounty on your head, hunt you across the galaxy. Sounds like most Thursdays back home, Goku joked. Then more seriously, make the jump. I'm in. Vex pulled the lever. The stars stretched into lines, and they vanished into hyperspace. Behind them, aboard the subjugator, Darth Vader stood alone in the hangar bay. Around him, crews worked to repair the damage from the brief battle. Toppled AT-ATs, melted deck plating, disabled systems. Lord Vader, an officer approached cautiously. The Emperor wishes to speak with you. Secure channel. Vader followed the officer to a private communications chamber. The holographic projection of Emperor Palpatine materialized, hooded and ominous. My apprentice, I understand the anomaly escaped. With the rebel operatives, and with our planted intelligence asset. Yes, my master. He possesses translocation abilities we did not anticipate. He grows more interesting by the hour, Palpatine interrupted. Tell me, Lord Vader, when you fought him, what did you sense? Nothing through the Force, Master. As before, he is a void. But you sensed something. I can hear it in your voice. What? Vader hesitated, then spoke the truth. Power, raw, unfocused, but greater than any being I have encountered except yourself. And something else. Purity. He fights without hatred, without fear. It's unnatural. No, Palpatine corrected. It's dangerous. A being of such power who cannot be corrupted is useless to us. Worse, it's a threat. If others see him standing against us without falling, they might believe they can do the same. Then I will find him and eliminate him. Not yet. Let him commit to the rebellion fully. Let him invest himself in their hopeless cause. Then when we crush the rebellion, when we demonstrate the futility of resistance, we'll break him. Show him that power without the dark side is meaningless, that mercy is weakness, that in this galaxy only the strong survive. And if he cannot be broken, the Emperor's smile was audible in his voice, then we'll kill him. Eventually, even the strongest fall to sufficient pressure. And we, my apprentice, have all the pressure in the galaxy at our disposal. The transmission ended. Vader stood in silence, processing his master's words. The warrior called Goku had become more than an anomaly. He'd become a test of imperial power, of the dark side's supremacy, of everything Vader had believed for decades. Part of him, a small part, buried beneath cybernetics and dark side corruption, hoped the warrior would prove strong enough to pass that test. The rest of him prepared to ensure Goku failed. Because in the Empire, there were no alternatives, only victory or death. And Darth Vader had forgotten how to lose. The rebel base on Hoth was different from the cramped canyon facility Goku had first visited. Carved into glacial ice, the Echo base sprawled across multiple levels, its corridors lined with frost and illuminated by harsh industrial lighting. The cold didn't bother Goku. His Kai kept him warm, but he noticed his companions shivering despite their insulated gear. 3 weeks had passed since their escape from the subjugator. 3 weeks of debriefing, planning, and watching the rebellion scramble to reorganize after discovering the depth of Imperial infiltration. Dr. Sovin's intelligence about the Death Star II had proven valuable, but the cost of obtaining it, the revelation that their networks were compromised, had thrown Alliance Command into chaos. Now, standing in Echo Base's main command center, Goku watched holographic displays showing Imperial fleet movements across a dozen sectors. Princess Leia stood at the center of the organized chaos, coordinating evacuations and defensive preparations. Confirmed Star Destroyer sightings in the Anoat sector. They're sweeping for us systematically. An intelligence officer updated a tactical display. At current rate, they'll find Hoth within 2 weeks. Then we evacuate within 1, Leia replied crisply. Begin transferring non-essential personnel to alternate locations. Priority goes to medical and technical staff. General Riekin approached Goku, who'd been observing silently. You've been quiet. Usually you have questions. Just thinking, Goku admitted. You're running, again. How many times have you had to abandon bases? 7 in the past 2 years, Riekin said grimly. It's what we do. Stay mobile, stay hidden. The moment the Empire finds us, we scatter. But you can't keep running forever. Eventually, you run out of places to hide. Eventually, yes, which is why we need to win before eventually arrives. Goku turned to face him directly. General, I've been with you guys for 3 weeks, helped with 6 missions. Everyone was the same pattern. Sneak in, hit a target, escape before the Empire crushes you. You're surviving, but you're not winning. We're weakening them. Every destroyed supply depot, every freed prisoner, every exposed atrocity makes them angrier and more committed to hunting you, Goku interrupted. I'm not criticizing. You're doing what you can with what you have. But back home, when we faced enemies too big to beat through attrition, we had to change strategies. Find their real weakness and strike there. The Empire's weakness is the Emperor, Leia interjected, walking over to join the conversation. Remove Palpatine, and the whole structure collapses. Vader would seize power, the Moffs would fracture into competing factions, and the entire system would tear itself apart. So why not go after him directly? Because he's unreachable, Riken explained. The Emperor operates from Coruscant, the most heavily defended planet in the galaxy. Imperial Center has orbital defense platforms that could destroy entire fleets. The Imperial Palace has the Royal Guard, warriors trained specifically to counter Force users. And even if you somehow reach Palpatine himself, he's a Sith Lord whose power makes Vader look like an apprentice. Goku's eyes lit up with interest. Really? Stronger than Vader? How much stronger? Leia recognized that expression. She'd seen it before when Goku discussed fighting techniques or powerful opponents. You're not thinking of challenging him, are you? I mean, eventually I probably should. He seems like the source of most of this galaxy's problems. Goku scratched his head. But I get your point. Just flying to Coruscant and demanding a fight wouldn't work. He'd see me coming, set up traps, use his armies as shields. Exactly. Which is why we fight the war we can win. Dismantling the Empire piece by piece, inspiring others to join the cause, building toward critical mass. What if there was another way? Goku proposed. What if instead of hitting military targets, you hit symbolic ones? Things that matter to regular people in the galaxy, not just soldiers. Explain, Leia said, her interest piqued. Back home, one of the smartest people I know, Bulma, she's a scientist, once told me that tyrants rule through 2 things: fear and the belief they're invincible. You've been trying to reduce fear by freeing people and exposing atrocities, but you haven't really challenged the invincibility part. Riken frowned. We destroyed the first Death Star. That was supposed to prove they're not invincible. Did it? From what you've told me, most people in the galaxy don't even know about that. The Empire controls information. They probably spun it as an accident or blamed it on something else. The official Imperial statement called it a technical malfunction, Leia confirmed bitterly. They claimed rebel propaganda about destroying it was a desperate attempt to seem relevant. See? So what if we did something they couldn't spin? Something public, undeniable, that showed everyone in the galaxy that the Empire can be beaten? Like what? An edge of skepticism entered Leia's voice. Goku's grin was pure Saiyan battle lust. Like me challenging Darth Vader to a public fight. Winner takes all. Broadcasted across every Imperial and Rebel channel. No armies, no tricks, just pure combat. And when I win, the whole galaxy sees that even the Emperor's enforcer can be beaten. The command center fell silent. Officers stopped working to stare. Even the normally unflappable General Riekin looked stunned. That's Leia searched for words. That's possibly the most reckless plan I've ever heard. Is it, though? Think about it. Vader hunts rebels constantly, right? What if instead of running, you offered him what he wants, a chance to capture or kill me, but on your terms? In a place where the whole galaxy can watch? Vader would never agree to a public spectacle, Riekin argued. The Empire doesn't. The Empire rules through fear of Vader, Goku countered. If I'm calling him out, challenging him publicly, he has to respond. Otherwise, he looks weak. And weakness in a fear-based system is death. Leia's expression shifted from skeptical to thoughtful. It could work. Not as you've described it. Vader wouldn't agree to a straight fight. But the principle is sound. Force him into a public confrontation where his defeat is witnessed. Your Highness, you can't be seriously considering this, an officer protested. The risk is exactly what we've been taking for years, Leia finished. The difference is this risk might actually change something. She turned to Goku. If we pursued this, could you actually beat Vader? Not survive fighting him? Beat him decisively? Yeah, I've fought him twice now. He's strong, skilled, uses that force energy well. But I'm stronger. If I stop holding back, stop worrying about killing him, I can win. But you don't want to kill him, Leia observed. Not really, no. Killing's sometimes necessary, but it should be a last resort. If I beat Vader badly enough, maybe he'd surrender or retreat. That would be better. Shows everyone he can be beaten without making him a martyr. Riken pulled up a galactic map. Even if Vader agreed to meet you, choosing a location would be critical. Somewhere public enough for witnesses, but defensible enough that we're not flying into a trap. What about Bespin? Suggested Captain Vex, who'd been listening from her station. Cloud City, neutral territory, civilian population, and the Empire has a presence there, but doesn't control it outright. Baron Administrator Calrissian has kept Bespin independent, Leia mused. He'd never officially sanctioned this, but if it happened without his advanced knowledge, she smiled slightly. He couldn't be blamed for failing to prevent something he didn't know about. I still think this is insane, Riken said, but his tone suggested he was warming to the idea despite himself. We'd need to broadcast the challenge on Imperial channels, ensure it couldn't be ignored or suppressed. Leave that to our slicing teams, Vex offered. We can hijack Imperial communications for brief periods, long enough to deliver a message that gets attention. Goku felt energy building in the room, the shift from defensive resignation to proactive planning. These people had been running for so long that the idea of dictating terms, of choosing the battlefield, energized them. There's another angle, Leia said quietly. If this works, if you defeat Vader publicly, it doesn't just inspire the rebellion. It terrifies the Empire. They'll have to respond decisively, which means they'll come after me with everything they have, Goku finished. That's fine. Better they chase me than hunt scattered rebel cells. You'd be making yourself a target for the entire Imperial military, Riken warned. I've been a target before. Frieza put a bounty on my head that had assassins coming from 3 galaxies. Didn't stop me. Goku's expression turned serious. Look, I understand the risk, but I also understand that sometimes you have to take big risks to get big results. You've been playing it safe, relatively safe, and barely surviving. Maybe it's time to gamble. Leia exchanged a long look with General Riken. Entire conversations seemed to pass between them silently. Finally, she nodded. We'll present this to Alliance Command. No promises, but I'll advocate for it. She focused on Goku. If they approve, you'll be putting your life on the line not just against Vader, but potentially against forces you haven't encountered yet. The Emperor won't let this go unanswered. Good, Goku said simply. I've been wanting to meet him anyway. Over the next 2 days, the rebellion's leadership debated furiously. Some called Goku's plan brilliant. Others called it suicidal. Mon Mothma, the Alliance's civilian leader, worried about the political implications. Admiral Akbar concerned himself with military consequences. But Princess Leia's passionate advocacy, combined with the undeniable fact that their current strategy was failing, eventually carried the argument. The plan was approved, with modifications, contingencies, and enough backup protocols to fill a tactical manual. But approved nonetheless. Goku stood in the communications room as rebel slicers worked their magic, hijacking Imperial military channels for a precious 30-second window. They'd chosen a broad-spectrum frequency that Imperial forces across multiple sectors would receive simultaneously. Ready? Vex asked, manning the recording equipment. Ready. The transmission began. Goku's image would be broadcast across Imperial networks, his message unavoidable. Hey, Darth Vader, it's Goku, the guy from Tatooine and the Subjugator. I know you've been looking for me, and I know your boss, the Emperor, wants me captured or killed. So here's a proposal. Meet me for a real fight. No armies, no tricks, no running. Just you and me, testing our strength. He paused, letting the challenge sink in. I'll be at Cloud City on Bespin in 72 hours. If you're as strong as everyone says, if you're really the Empire's greatest warrior, prove it. Fight me where the whole galaxy can watch. Or don't show up, and everyone will know that the great Darth Vader was afraid of one fighter. The transmission ended. Within minutes, it was spreading across Imperial networks like wildfire. Encryption protocols tried to suppress it, but the rebels had seeded it too broadly. Officers on dozens of ships saw it. Stormtroopers in garrison bases watched it. Even some civilian channels caught fragments before it was scrubbed. The challenge was out, unavoidable, public. And in the throne room of the Death Star II, Emperor Palpatine watched the transmission with yellow eyes gleaming with dark satisfaction. Magnificent, the Emperor whispered. The fool has given us exactly what we needed. Justification for decisive action and a guaranteed location. Lord Vader, you will go to Bespin. You will fight this warrior. And whether you win or lose, we will demonstrate the cost of defying the Empire. Darth Vader stood before his master's holographic projection. You wish me to accept this challenge? I command you to accept it. Let the rebellion have their spectacle. Let this Goku believe he's controlling the situation. When he arrives at Cloud City, he'll find more than a simple duel waiting. You're planning something beyond our confrontation. I'm planning a lesson, my apprentice, one that will teach this naive warrior and everyone watching that power without wisdom is nothing, that mercy is weakness, that in this galaxy, only the ruthless survive. Palpatine leaned forward. Fight him, push him to his limits, and when he's exhausted from your battle, when he thinks he's won, I will arrive, and I will show him what true power means. Vader understood. This wasn't about defeating Goku in combat. It was about breaking him psychologically, demonstrating that his strength was insufficient, his morals a liability. And when the Emperor personally crushed someone as powerful as Goku, the message to the galaxy would be clear. Resistance is futile. As you wish, my master. One more thing, Lord Vader. This warrior cares about his companions, about innocence. That is his weakness. When you fight at Cloud City, ensure there are complications. Let him choose between defeating you and protecting others. Let him learn that heroism in this galaxy has costs he cannot pay. The transmission ended. Vader stood in silence, processing his orders. He would fight Goku at Bespin, would test the warrior's power against his own dark side mastery, and when the Emperor arrived to deliver the final blow, Vader would witness whether this anomaly from beyond the stars could withstand the full might of the Sith. Part of him almost hoped the warrior would survive. The Empire had become predictable, stale. A new challenge, a genuine threat, would be refreshing. The rest of him prepared to execute his master's commands flawlessly, because that was what he did. That was all he'd allowed himself to become. On Hoth, Goku prepared for the journey to Bespin. He'd requested his original orange guy be cleaned and repaired. The familiar clothing felt more appropriate for a real fight than Imperial uniforms or rebel gear. Princess Leia found him in the training room, practicing kata against invisible opponents. You seem calm. Most people about to fight Darth Vader would be terrified. I've fought too many strong opponents to be scared anymore, Goku replied, flowing through a complex series of strikes and blocks. Nervous? Sure. Excited? Definitely. But scared? Not really. What if you can't beat him? Then I'll lose. Try to learn from it. Come back stronger next time. He paused his training to look at her. But I don't think I'll lose. Vader's strong, but I'm stronger. As long as I don't hold back, I'll win. It's not just about strength, Leia warned. Vader's fought for decades. He's tactical, ruthless. And the Emperor, if he shows up, if he intervenes, you'd be facing someone even I barely understand. Then I'll deal with that when it happens. But for now, I'm focusing on Vader. Leia studied him with those sharp, analytical eyes. You really believe this will work, don't you? That defeating Vader will inspire the galaxy to rise against the Empire. I believe people need hope, Goku said simply, and sometimes hope comes from seeing someone strong enough to stand up to the bullies. Back home, when I beat Piccolo or Frieza or the other threats, it showed people that even the scariest enemies could be beaten. That gave them courage to keep fighting, keep living. Maybe this will do the same here. And if the Empire retaliates, If they destroy more planets, kill more innocents to prove they're still in control, then we stop them from doing that. Goku's expression hardened. I'm not naive, Princess. I know fighting the Empire won't be clean or easy. People will suffer. Some might die because of choices I make, but people are already suffering and dying under Imperial rule. At least this way, they'll see there's an alternative. Leia was quiet for a long moment. My father, my adoptive father, Bail Organa, used to say that sometimes the most dangerous thing you can give people is hope, because hope makes them willing to take risks, to sacrifice, to believe change is possible even when logic says it isn't. Your father sounds like he was wise. He was, and he died when Alderaan exploded, along with everyone else I'd ever known. Her voice remained steady, but Goku sensed the ocean of grief beneath. So understand, when I support your plan, when I advocate for this gamble, I'm doing it knowing it might cost more lives, more planets, but also knowing that if we don't take risks, we'll definitely lose. Just slowly, across decades, until the rebellion is nothing but a historical footnote. Then we'll make sure the risk pays off, Goku promised. I'll beat Vader, show the galaxy that the Empire can be challenged, and then we'll figure out the next step together. Leia offered a slight smile. Together. I like the sound of that. The rebellion's been fighting alone for so long, having someone like you, someone genuinely powerful enough to challenge the Empire's champions, it's changing how we think about what's possible. Good, because I'm pretty sure Vader and the Emperor have more tricks planned than just a straightforward fight. You think it's a trap? Definitely a trap, Goku confirmed cheerfully. But that's okay. I'm good at springing traps. Usually I just hit them until they break. Despite everything, the danger, the stakes, the very real possibility of failure, Leia laughed. There was something infectious about Goku's confidence, his refusal to be intimidated by the Empire's vast power. May the Force be with you, she said finally, even if you don't use it. And may, whatever you guys say back, may that be with you too. 72 hours later, Goku stood on a landing platform in Cloud City, suspended kilometers above Bespin's gas giant atmosphere. The city floated in toxic orange clouds, a marvel of engineering that housed millions of civilians. Behind him, a small rebel contingent watched nervously. Ahead, descending through the clouds, was an Imperial Lambda-class shuttle. Its wings folded upward as it landed with mechanical precision. The boarding ramp lowered, and Darth Vader emerged, his black armor stark against the orange sky. His lightsaber at his side, his mechanical breathing echoing across the platform. You came, Goku said, genuinely pleased. Wasn't sure you would. You challenged me publicly, Vader replied. Questioned my courage. Such insults require a response. I didn't mean it as an insult, just wanted to make sure you'd show up. Goku rolled his shoulders, loosening his muscles. So, ready to fight? For real this time? No holding back? Vader's lightsaber ignited. I will show you the power of the dark side. And when you fall, broken and defeated, the galaxy will understand that resistance to the Empire is futile. Or they'll understand that even Darth Vader can be beaten. Goku dropped into his fighting stance, Kai beginning to swirl around his body. Either way, let's find out. Around Cloud City, cameras focused on the platform. Rebel slicers had already hijacked local broadcasting systems. Across nearby sectors, on ships and stations and planets, beings of 100 species watched as the galaxy's most feared enforcer faced a warrior from beyond the stars. The fight that would change everything was about to begin. The first clash sent shockwaves rippling across Cloud City's platform. Vader's opening strike, a gem, so power blow designed to overwhelm through pure force, met Goku's forearm block. The impact created a pressure wave that shattered nearby windows and knocked over observation equipment the rebels had set up. Goku pushed back, forcing Vader to retreat 3 steps. You're stronger than last time. Been training? The dark side is infinite, Vader replied, circling. I draw on pain, rage, hatred, emotions you cannot comprehend. I've met plenty of people powered by negative emotions. Usually doesn't end well for them. Goku mirrored Vader's movement, the two warriors orbiting each other like binary stars. But I'm willing to be proven wrong. Vader attacked in a blur of lightsaber strikes, Sorsu defensive forms blending seamlessly into Ataru acrobatics, each technique flowing into the next without pause. He was fighting better than before, Goku noticed, more focused, drawing deeper on whatever force energy fueled his abilities. Goku dodged and parried, his hands moving faster than the cameras could properly track. When Vader's lightsaber came too close, he caught it, not with his palm this time, but between two fingers, stopping the plasma blade cold through sheer Kai control. That trick won't work forever, Vader growled, wrenching his weapon free. Probably not, Goku agreed, but it's working now. He countered with a kick that Vader barely blocked, the force cushioning the impact but still sliding him backward across the platform. Goku pressed his advantage, launching a combination of strikes, punch, elbow, knee, sweep, that forced Vader into pure defense. The Dark Lord responded with force lightning, blue-white energy crackling from his fingertips. Goku took the hit, his muscles locking up briefly from the electrical assault. It hurt more than last time. Vader had definitely gotten stronger. Okay, that stings, Goku admitted, shaking off the residual current. Your turn's over. My turn now. He vanished in a burst of speed. Vader spun, lightsaber raised, but Goku was already behind him. A palm strike to Vader's back sent the Dark Lord tumbling forward. Before he could recover, Goku appeared at his landing point, delivering an uppercut that lifted Vader off his feet. Across the galaxy, beings watching the broadcast gasped. Darth Vader, the Jedi killer, the Emperor's enforcer, the incarnation of Imperial might, was being outfought. Visibly, undeniably. On the platform, rebel operatives exchanged excited glances. This was working. The plan was actually working. But in the shadows of Cloud City's control tower, Imperial stormtroopers were moving into position. Admiral Malthus, commanding officer of the Star Destroyer Tyranny in orbit, watched the fight through surveillance feeds while issuing quiet orders. Sniper teams acquire targets on the rebel operatives. Do not fire until Lord Vader signals. Security teams secure all civilian evacuation routes from this sector. When the Emperor arrives, I want complete control. The stormtroopers acknowledged and moved silently through Cloud City's corridors. The civilians, miners, technicians, families, had no idea their home was being turned into a cage. On the platform, Vader rose from Goku's assault, his armor dented, his breathing slightly more labored. Through the force, he reached out to massive structures around Cloud City, processing plants, Tabana gas containers, the platform's support struts. You fight well, Vader acknowledged, but combat is more than physical prowess. He gestured. Behind Goku, a massive gas container tore free from its moorings. The multi-ton cylinder hurtled toward the rebel operatives watching from the platform's edge. Goku moved instantly, catching the container before it could crush his allies. The weight was substantial, maybe 50 tons. He set it down gently. That's not cool, Vader. They're not part of this fight. Everyone is part of this fight, Vader countered. He gestured again, and 3 more containers rose into the air, along with chunks of the platform itself. This is war. There are no innocent bystanders, only victors and casualties. He hurled the debris, not at Goku, but at Cloud City's civilian sectors. Residential towers, shopping districts, schools. No! Goku rocketed upward, intercepting the projectiles mid-flight. He caught one container, deflected another with a Kai blast, and barely managed to stop the third before it crashed into a residential building. Below him, he could sense thousands of civilian life energies. Families, children, workers, all in danger. Vader used the distraction. He appeared via force jump behind Goku, lightsaber raised. The crimson blade slashed toward Goku's exposed back. Goku spun at the last second, catching Vader's wrist. Using innocent people as distraction? That's low. That's strategy, Vader replied. He unleashed force lightning point blank, the electrical energy coursing through Goku's grip into his body. Goku gritted his teeth against the pain, refusing to let go. Strategy or cruelty? Because from where I'm standing, they look the same. He headbutted Vader, a science solution to close quarters problems. The impact cracked Vader's mask, fracturing the faceplate. Warning indicators flashed inside Vader's helmet as his life support systems struggled to compensate. The Dark Lord fell back, one hand clutching his damaged mask. For a moment, through the crack, Goku glimpsed scarred flesh and a single organic eye burning with hate. "You dare!" Vader's mechanical voice glitched, fluctuating between modulated and raw. "You dare strike at what I've become?" "I strike at enemies who threaten innocence," Goku replied. "Whether they're wearing armor or not doesn't matter to me." Across Cloud City, the Imperial forces made their move. Stormtroopers emerged from hiding, surrounding the platform. Sniper positions acquired target locks on rebel operatives. In orbit, the Star Destroyer Tyranny broke from holding position, descending toward the city with weapons hot. Captain Vex saw them first. "Goku! Imperial forces moving in! Multiple hostiles! We're surrounded!" Goku's attention split between Vader and the emerging threat. This was the trap. Keep him busy with Vader while Imperial forces secured the area, captured his allies, turned his victory into a massacre. "Vader, stop this! You've lost the fight. We both know it. Don't make me hurt more of your people." "Lost?" Vader's damaged vocoder made his laugh sound inhuman. "You understand nothing. This was never about our duel. It was about demonstrating what happens when you challenge the Empire." He raised his hand. Throughout Cloud City, explosive charges detonated, carefully placed devices that the Imperials had installed over the past 3 days. Not enough to destroy the city, but enough to destabilize it. Platforms began tilting. Support struts groaned. Emergency sirens wailed. "The city is failing," Vader stated. "Thousands of civilians will die when it falls into Bespin's atmosphere. You can save them, or you can capture me. Choose, warrior. Show the galaxy what your principles cost." Goku stared at him, understanding flooding through. This was the Emperor's true strategy. Force him to choose between victory and lives. Make him fail either way. Either he abandons his morals to defeat Vader, or he abandons the fight to save innocence, proving that mercy is weakness. Around the platform, stormtroopers opened fire on rebel positions. Vex returned fire, but they were outnumbered 50-1. Dex took a blaster bolt to the shoulder, his cybernetic arms sparking. Other operatives fell back, seeking cover that was rapidly disappearing as the platform destabilized. In the city, civilian panic spread. Families ran for evacuation ships. Workers tried to stabilize failing systems. Children cried in confusion and terror. Goku felt every life force, sensed their fear and pain. Thousands of innocents, his friends, all in danger because he'd accepted this challenge. "I'm not choosing," Goku said quietly. His power began to rise, golden aura intensifying around his body. "I'm saving everyone." "Impossible. You cannot be in multiple places simultaneously. You cannot defeat me and save the city. Even you have limits." "Maybe." Goku's hair flickered, starting to lift upward. "But I haven't shown you my real power yet. Been holding back, trying not to cause too much destruction. Guess that's over." The air around him crackled with energy. His power level surged, doubling, then tripling. The platform beneath his feet cracked from the pressure of his aura. Vader felt it through the Force, not directly, but through the way reality seemed to bend around the warrior. This was more than the strength he'd displayed before. Much more. "Multi-form technique," Goku shouted, focusing his ki on. It was a risky move, splitting his power between separate bodies, but it was the only way to handle multiple crises simultaneously. 3 exact copies of Goku materialized beside him, each composed of condensed ki energy. They weren't illusions or after-images. They were real, independent bodies, each controlling a quarter of his total power. "I'll handle Vader," the original Goku said. "You 3, stabilize the city, protect the civilians, cover the rebel evacuation." His copies nodded and scattered at incredible speed. One flew toward the failing support structures, using ki blasts to weld broken struts. Another positioned himself near the rebel operatives, deflecting incoming blaster fire. The third headed to civilian evacuation points, using his body as a shield against falling debris. Vader watched this impossible display with something approaching awe beneath his hatred. "You split your essence, divided your power. Foolish. Now you're vulnerable." "Maybe, but now everyone gets saved and you get beaten. Win-win." Even at quarter power, Goku's energy still exceeded most beings Vader had encountered. Let's finish this. He moved faster than before, no longer restraining himself for fear of collateral damage. His fist slammed into Vader's chest plate, the impact creating a crater in the Durasteel armor. Vader flew backward, crashed through a railing, and barely caught himself from falling into the clouds below. The Dark Lord responded with the full fury of the dark side. He pulled on every painful memory, every loss, every moment of rage from his decades of suffering. The force swelled around him like a storm. Platforms near him simply disintegrated from the pressure. I was born in slavery, Vader's damaged vocoder crackled. Trained as a Jedi, betrayed by everyone I trusted, burned alive on Mustafar, rebuilt as a machine. I have endured suffering you cannot imagine, and I have transformed that suffering into power. He unleashed that power in a focused wave of dark side energy, not force lightning or telekinesis, but raw hatred given form. The attack was invisible to normal sight, but devastating in effect. The air superheated, metal corroded, organic matter withered. Goku's Kai barrier flared, protecting him from the worst effects, but even he felt the attack's intensity. I'm sorry that happened to you. Seriously, sounds like you've had a rough life. But that doesn't give you the right to hurt others? You pity me? Vader's rage intensified. Save your pity for yourself. They clashed again, lightsaber against Kai-reinforced fists. Each impact sent shockwaves across the city. Around them, Goku's copies worked frantically, stabilizing platforms, evacuating civilians, protecting rebels from Imperial assault. The broadcast continued, though cameras struggled to track the combat's speed. Across the galaxy, beings watched in mixed horror and fascination. Some cheered for Goku, seeing hope in his defiance. Others called him a terrorist, a threat to order. But none could deny what they were seeing. Darth Vader was being pushed to his absolute limit. And then reality tore. The sky above Cloud City split open, darkness bleeding through like ink and water. A sensation of overwhelming malevolence flooded the area, so intense that even non-force sensitives felt it. The temperature dropped 20 degrees in an instant. Through the tear in space descended an Imperial shuttle, but its arrival felt wrong, as if the universe itself recoiled from its presence. The shuttle landed on the platform. Its ramp descended, and Emperor Palpatine emerged, his yellow eyes gleaming beneath his hood, his presence radiating power that dwarfed everything Goku had felt from Vader. Impressive, the Emperor said, his voice carrying across the platform despite being barely above a whisper. Lord Vader, you have tested the anomaly thoroughly. Now step aside. I will finish this. Vader, battered and damaged, pulled himself upright. My master, you fought well, my apprentice, but this being requires a Sith Lord's full attention. Palpatine's gaze fixed on Goku, and even the Saiyan felt something primal react, a warning from instincts honed across countless battles. So, you are Goku, the warrior from beyond our galaxy, the anomaly that defies the Force. Goku's copies vanished, their energy returning to him. No more splitting his power. He'd need everything for this. You're the Emperor, the one everyone's so scared of. With good reason. Palpatine gestured casually. Around the platform, every Imperial stormtrooper collapsed, their life forces snuffed out like candles. 30 soldiers dead in an instant. Power is not merely strength, it is will, dominance, the absolute certainty that your existence supersedes all others. Goku stared at the fallen stormtroopers, horror mixing with anger. You just killed your own people. Why? To demonstrate a point. They were expendable, tools that served their purpose. The Emperor smiled. As are all things in my empire. Life has value only as I assign it, and your life, warrior, has precisely the value I choose to give it. That's sick. People aren't tools. They're alive. They matter. Do they? Then save them. Palpatine gestured again. Throughout Cloud City, the explosive charges reignited. The entire structure began collapsing, not slowly but catastrophically. Thousands of tons of metal and Tibanna, gas containers falling toward the toxic atmosphere. Goku moved to intercept, but Palpatine's force lightning struck him mid-flight. This wasn't like Vader's attacks. This was agony given physical form. The electricity didn't just shock his muscles, it attacked his very essence, burning through Kai barriers like acid through paper. Goku crashed to the platform, smoke rising from his GI. Every nerve screamed, his muscles spasmed uncontrollably. You see, Palpatine continued conversationally, your physical strength is meaningless against the dark side's mastery. The Force touches all living things, even you, though you cannot sense it. And through the Force, I can make you suffer in ways your simple mind cannot comprehend. Goku struggled to his feet, golden aura flickering weakly. The Emperor was right about one thing. This attack was different. It bypassed his usual defenses, struck at something deeper than flesh. Around them, Cloud City continued falling. Goku could sense the civilian life forces dropping with it, their terror of physical weight. His friends among the rebels, fighting desperately against impossible odds. Vader watching silently, measuring the confrontation. He had to choose. Fight the Emperor and let thousands die, or save the innocents and lose to Palpatine. Unless, King Kai, Goku whispered, reaching out across the dimensional barrier to his old mentor. I need help. Everyone's in danger. I need more power. All the power. From across the galaxy, across the very dimensional boundaries separating realities. King Kai's telepathic voice responded, Goku, what are you thinking? You're not planning. Kaioken times 20, Goku stated. Maybe higher. I know the risk, but I need it. Now. That'll destroy your body in your current state. I don't have a choice. Goku planted his feet and focused everything he had. The Kaioken technique, a power multiplier that pushed his body beyond safe limits, began to manifest. His aura shifted from gold to crimson, power surging to levels that made his previous displays seem minimal. The platform beneath him didn't crack. It pulverized into dust. The air superheated. Reality itself seemed to strain against the energy he was generating. Kaioken times 20! His power exploded outward. Even Palpatine stepped back, his expression shifting from amused superiority to genuine interest. Through the Force, the Emperor sensed what he'd never encountered before, power that existed completely outside his sphere of influence, yet approached his own dark side mastery in sheer magnitude. Goku moved, faster than light, faster than thought. He appeared at the first falling platform, caught it, and hurled it back to stability. Then the second, the third. In the span of 3 heartbeats, he had arrested the collapse of every major structure, welding them back together with precisely controlled ki blasts. Then he was back on the platform, standing before Palpatine, his body smoking from the Kaioken stress. Nobody dies today. Not the civilians. Not my friends. Nobody. Fascinating, Palpatine said. You're killing yourself to save strangers, destroying your body for a galaxy that isn't even yours. This is the weakness of the Jedi made manifest, compassion that becomes suicide. Call it whatever you want, Goku replied. His muscles screamed in protest, blood vessels rupturing under the strain. I'm not letting you murder people to prove a point. Then die proving yours. Palpatine unleashed Force lightning with both hands. Not the torture variant he'd used before, but pure destruction. The electrical storm engulfed Goku completely, energy enough to reduce a starship to slag. Through the agony, through the Kaioken's burning stress, Goku forced his hands forward. Kami, Haim! Energy gathered between his palms. Not ki alone, but everything he had left. Every ounce of power, will, desperation. Ha! The blue energy wave erupted forward, colliding with Palpatine's lightning. For a moment, the two attacks struggled for dominance. Dark side versus Kai. The Emperor's centuries of mastery versus Goku's pure determination. The platform exploded from the energy collision. Both combatants were thrown backward. Goku slammed into a support strut, the Kaioken finally failing. His aura extinguished. Pain overwhelmed his senses. Palpatine floated above the ruined platform, his robes singed but his composure intact. Remarkable. You actually wounded me. No one has managed that in decades. He examined his hands, which showed minor burns. But you're finished. Your body is broken. Your power exhausted. And now I will take you before my throne. Break you completely. Make you watch as I execute your rebel friends one by one. Show you the price of defiance. Goku tried to stand and failed. His legs wouldn't support him. The Kaioken had pushed him beyond his limits. He'd saved Cloud City, protected the innocents, but now he had nothing left. The Emperor gestured. Invisible bonds wrapped around Goku, holding him immobile through telekinesis. Lord Vader, retrieve our prize. We return to... A ship descended through the clouds, not Imperial design, but a battered Corellian freighter. The Millennium Falcon, guns blazing, strafed the platform. Rebel reinforcements had arrived. From the ship's cargo hold, Princess Leia's voice rang out. Goku, we're extracting. Hold on. Tractor beams locked onto Goku's position. Palpatine's concentration broke as he redirected the force to resist the extraction. For 3 seconds, the two forces struggled. Technology versus the dark side. Captain Vex threw a thermal detonator at the Emperor's position. Palpatine deflected it easily, but the explosion created smoke and distraction. The tractor beam won, yanking Goku upward into the Falcon's hold. No! Palpatine's scream of rage echoed across Cloud City. After them! I want that ship destroyed! Destroy them! The Falcon banked hard, dodging TIE fighter fire as it climbed toward space. Behind them, the Star Destroyer Tyranny gave chase, turbo lasers lighting up the sky. In the ship's hold, Goku lay on the deck plating, barely conscious. Princess Leia knelt beside him, checking his vital signs. He's alive, barely. His body temperature is through the roof. What did he do to himself? He saved everyone, Captain Vex said quietly, watching through the viewport as Cloud City stabilized below them. He fought Vader and the Emperor simultaneously, saved thousands of civilians, and refused to let anyone die, even if it killed him. The Falcon made the jump to hyperspace, escaping the Imperial pursuit. Behind them, Emperor Palpatine stood on the ruined platform, his fury a palpable presence. Find him, he commanded. Search every system. Interrogate every rebel contact. I want that warrior brought before me, and when I have him, I will teach him such suffering that he'll beg for death. Vader, still clutching his damaged mask, spoke quietly. He won, my master. Despite our trap, despite your power, he saved everyone and escaped. He won nothing, Palpatine hissed. Yes, he saved lives today, protected his principles, but I learned something invaluable, his weakness, his heroism. Use enough hostages, threaten enough innocents, and he'll destroy himself trying to save them all. Next time, we'll need only to choose a larger stage. Across the galaxy, the broadcast of the fight concluded. Beings debated what they'd witnessed. Some called Goku a hero, others called him a terrorist, but none could deny the central truth. Darth Vader had been beaten. The Emperor himself had failed to capture a single warrior. The Empire's invincibility was a lie. And in the dark corners of oppressed worlds, in the hearts of those who'd lost hope, something stirred, something dangerous to tyrants. Belief. In the possibility of resistance. In the chance that even the Empire could be beaten. The spark had been lit. Whether it would grow into a flame that burned the Empire down, or be snuffed out in blood and ash, only time would tell. Goku woke to the soft hum of medical equipment and the antiseptic smell of a Bacta tank. His body ached, not the sharp pain of injury, but the deep, bone-weary exhaustion of having pushed himself past every conceivable limit. Through half-closed eyes, he could see Princess Leia and Dr. Sovin conferring quietly near a monitor, displaying his vital signs. Shouldn't be alive, the doctor was saying. The cellular damage alone should have been fatal. Whatever technique he used, it generated internal temperatures that would cook a human from the inside out. But he's healing. Impossibly fast, but healing. How long until he's conscious? Leia asked. He already is, Goku croaked, his throat raw. Both women turned sharply. Hey, did we make it? Is everyone okay? Leia approached the medical bed, relief evident in her expression despite her attempt at composure. Everyone survived. Your actions at Cloud City, saving the structures, protecting the civilians, fighting both Vader and the Emperor, it's all over the HoloNet. The Empire is trying to suppress the footage, but it's spreading too fast. You've become a symbol. A symbol of what? Goku tried to sit up and winced as his muscles protested. I barely survived. The Emperor he was on another level. If you guys hadn't extracted me, he would have captured me. But he didn't capture you, Leia countered. That's what matters. You fought the Empire's greatest champions in front of the galaxy and lived. You saved thousands of lives while doing it. People are calling it the miracle of Bespin. Miracle? Goku managed a weak laugh. Felt more like barely surviving by my teeth. That Emperor, Palpatine, his power was different from anything I've faced. That Force lightning, it didn't just hurt my body, it attacked something deeper. My Kai, maybe, or my life force itself. Dr. Sovin pulled up holographic displays showing energy readings captured during the fight. We analyzed what footage we could. The Emperor's attacks appear to bypass conventional physical defenses by targeting bioelectrical systems directly. Your KI reinforcement protected you from Vader's lightsaber, but the Emperor's Force lightning operates on a different principle. So he found my weakness, Goku said quietly. Good to know for next time. There can't be a next time, Leia said urgently. Goku, you almost died. Your body's still recovering from whatever technique you used. If you face the Emperor again, I'll need to be stronger, smarter, better prepared. Goku finally managed to sit upright, his scion physiology already beginning the rapid recovery process. Look, I appreciate the concern, really, but I've faced enemies who seemed unbeatable before. Frieza nearly killed me on Namek. Cell pushed me beyond anything I thought possible. Majin Buu required fusion and help from the entire universe. Every time I survived by getting stronger. This isn't your universe, Leia reminded him. You don't have your friends here. No Senzu beans, no Dragon Balls, no, what did you call them? Kais to train with. True, but I've got the rebellion, and I'm learning about this galaxy's power, the Force. If I can figure out how to sense it, maybe even resist it better, the Emperor's advantage disappears. A new voice entered the conversation. An interesting theory, but dangerous to pursue. Everyone turned to see a robed figure standing in the doorway, old, leaning on a gnarled staff, his eyes milky with blindness, but somehow still seeing. Goku felt a strange energy from him, different from most life signatures he'd sensed in this galaxy. Who's? Goku started. This is Master Chirrut, Leia explained. He was a guardian of the wills on Jedha before the Empire destroyed the temple. He's not a Jedi, but he's deeply connected to the Force. When word spread about your fight with the Emperor, he sought us out, said he needed to meet you. Chirrut shuffled closer, his blind gaze somehow fixed on Goku. The Force surrounds all living things, binds them, connects them. But you are different. I sense your presence, but the Force flows around you like water around stone. Not touching, not binding, you exist separately. Is that bad? Goku asked. Neither bad nor good. Simply unusual. Chirrut tilted his head. You wish to understand the Force to better defend against it. But the Force cannot be learned like a technique. It is not something you do. It is something you are part of. Or in your case, something you stand apart from. So I can't learn to use it. You already use something else. The energy you call Kai. I felt it at Bespin, even from systems away. It shook the Force like a bell being struck. Your power doesn't need the Force. It exists independently. Goku absorbed this. But the Emperor can use the Force to hurt me. That lightning attack, it bypassed my normal defenses. If I can't learn to sense the Force, I can't predict those attacks. The Force is not about prediction. It is about awareness. Present moment. And you, warrior, fight already in the present moment. Your instincts, your combat sense, they function similarly to Force precognition, but through different means. So what you're saying is I'm doing something Force-like without using the Force. Precisely, Chirrut smiled. The Emperor attacked you through the Force because he assumed your separation from it made you vulnerable. But your Kai, your life energy, it protected you. Not perfectly, but enough to survive. With training, with understanding, you could strengthen those defenses. Then teach me, Goku said immediately. I am not a teacher of combat. I am merely a blind man who sees more clearly than most. Chirrut gestured with his staff. But I can guide, show you meditation techniques the Guardians used, help you feel how the Force moves, even if you cannot touch it directly. Understanding an enemy's weapon is halfway to defeating them. Leia looked skeptical. Master Chirrut, with respect, Goku needs to recover, not begin some mystical training regimen. The Saiyan physiology is already healing, Dr. Sovan interjected, studying the monitors. His cellular regeneration rate is extraordinary. He'll be back to full capacity within 3 days. Unprecedented, but the data is clear. See? Goku grinned. I'm fine. Well, mostly fine. And I'd rather spend recovery time learning than sitting around. Master Chirrut, I'll take whatever training you can offer. Over the next 3 days aboard the medical frigate that served as the rebellion's mobile hospital, Goku learned to sit still. For someone whose life had been constant motion and training, meditation proved more challenging than fighting Vader. You are trying too hard, Chirrut observed, tapping Goku's shoulder with his staff. The Force is not seized, it is felt, like sensing the warmth of sun on your face. But I don't sense the Force at all, Goku protested, opening his eyes from the meditation pose. I feel, Kai, life energy from living things. But this Force thing everyone talks about? Nothing. Because you're looking for it as you'd look for Kai. They're different. Kai is internal, personal. The Force is universal, connecting all things. You sense life energy directly. The Force senses the connections between lives. So it's more like a web, and people are nodes in the web? A crude metaphor, but yes. Chirrut sat across from him, perfectly balanced despite his age. When a Jedi uses the Force, they are pulling on those connections, manipulating the web. The Emperor's lightning. He sends dark side energy along those connections, using them as conduits for his malice. Understanding dawned in Goku's expression. So when he hit me with lightning, he was using the Force connections around me. Even if I'm not connected myself, I exist in the web space. He attacked the area I occupy. Yes, now you begin to understand. So how do I defend against that? By making your separation more pronounced. Your Kai creates a shell around you. I can sense it even now, a bubble of personal energy. Strengthen that shell, make it denser, more complete. The Emperor's lightning will struggle to penetrate something that fundamentally rejects the Force's influence. Goku closed his eyes again, this time focusing on his ki aura. He'd always used it instinctively, for flight, for attacks, for defense. But now he concentrated on making it a complete barrier, leaving no gaps where Force energy could slip through. It was harder than expected. Kai wanted to flow, to move. Making it static felt unnatural, but slowly, through hours of meditation, he began to achieve the effect. A shell of golden energy, paper thin but perfectly sealed. Better, Chirrut said, though this technique will require constant maintenance. The moment your concentration breaks, the shell will fail. Then I'll need to make it instinctive, Goku replied. Like breathing, something I do without thinking. He opened his eyes. Thanks, Master Chirrut. This is really helpful. If I can maintain this during combat, the Emperor's lightning won't be nearly as effective. Do not become overconfident. The Emperor has ruled for decades through cunning as much as power. He will adapt, find new weaknesses to exploit. Let him try. I'll adapt too. On the 3rd day, Goku was declared medically cleared. His body had fully recovered from the Kaioken strain. The burns from Palpatine's lightning healed to smooth skin. He stood in the medical frigate's cargo bay, practicing kata while maintaining his new ki shell technique. Princess Leia found him there, watching silently as he moved through forms that blended Earth martial arts with techniques adapted for ki manipulation. When he finished, she spoke. The Alliance leadership wants to meet with you. Discuss strategy going forward. Your fight at Bespin changed everything. Imperial recruitment is down, desertions are up, and 6 systems have declared independence in the past 3 days. But the Emperor's response is concerning. What's he doing? Mobilizing everything. Every Star Destroyer, every garrison, every Imperial asset is being repositioned. Intelligence suggests he's planning something massive, a demonstration to counter the hope you inspired at Bespin. Goku's expression grew serious. Another planet? Another Alderaan? Possibly, or something worse. The Death Star 2 is still under construction, but the Emperor might accelerate its completion. With that weapon operational, we stop it, Goku said simply. Destroy it like you destroyed the first one. The first Death Star was vulnerable because of a design flaw, a thermal exhaust port that led directly to its reactor. The second Death Star won't have the same weakness. It'll be nearly invulnerable. Nearly isn't the same as invulnerable. Goku cracked his knuckles. Besides, I've been thinking. The rebellion's been fighting the Empire's military for years. Ships, soldiers, bases. But the real problem is the Emperor himself, right? He's the one giving orders, controlling everything. We've been over this. The Emperor is unreachable. Not if I go to him directly. Use instant transmission to teleport into his throne room. Fight him one-on-one, no armies involved. Leia shook her head. That's suicide. You'd be alone, surrounded by his guards, potentially facing both him and Vader simultaneously. Even you can't fight those odds. Maybe not. But what if I had help? What if instead of me going alone, we used my teleportation to insert a strike team directly into the Imperial Palace? Skip all the defenses, all the ships, and hit the head of the snake directly? Leia paused, considering. That's, actually not insane. Risky, but not insane. If we could assemble a team capable of fighting through the Imperial Guard, reach the Emperor's throne room, and I keep him busy while your team secures an escape route or plants charges or whatever the plan requires, it could work. It could also fail spectacularly and result in everyone dying. True, but doing nothing guarantees the Empire wins eventually. At least this way, we're taking initiative, making them react to us instead of always reacting to them. Before Leia could respond, alarms began wailing throughout the medical frigate. Red lights flashed. An officer's voice crackled over the intercom. All hands, battle stations. Imperial Star Destroyers emerging from hyperspace. Multiple contacts. We're outnumbered. Goku and Leia rushed to the bridge. Through the viewport, they saw 3 Star Destroyers dropping out of hyperspace in a perfect attack formation. TIE fighters poured from their hangars like angry insects. How did they find us? Leia demanded. Tracking beacon, the captain replied grimly. They must have planted one when they extracted Goku from Bespin. We've been compromised. The Star Destroyer's turbo lasers opened fire. The medical frigate's shields flared under the assault. But these weren't warships. They were designed for healing, not fighting. The shields wouldn't last long. Evacuate all non-essential personnel, Leia ordered. Get the patients to escape pods. All fighters scramble for defensive positions. We have 12 fighters, the captain said. They have over 200. This isn't a battle. It's an execution. Goku watched the approaching Imperial force, calculating odds. The frigate couldn't outrun them. The rebel fighters couldn't stop them. Hundreds of people, patients, medical staff, rebel personnel, were about to die, unless he acted. Get everyone to the escape pods, Goku said. I'll buy you time. Goku, no. Leia grabbed his arm. You just recovered. You can't fight 3 Star Destroyers alone. Watch me. He flashed his trademark grin. Besides, I've been wanting to test something. See if I can actually hurt a ship that big. Before anyone could stop him, Goku launched himself through the airlock. The void of space surrounded him. No air, no pressure, just stars and the approaching Imperial fleet. His Kai provided oxygen and protection, an aura that kept him alive in the vacuum. He flew toward the lead Star Destroyer, a massive wedge of gray metal bristling with weapons. Turbo lasers tracked his movement, firing in coordinated patterns. Goku dodged the first volley, weaved through the second, and took the third hit directly on his Ki shell. The impact hurt but didn't penetrate. Okay, they can't kill me easily. Good to know. He approached the Star Destroyer's bridge tower, the command center where officers directed the ship's operations. Through the viewports, he could see their shocked faces as a single humanoid flew toward them in open space. Goku pulled back his fist, channeling Kai into a focus point. Sorry about this. It's not personal. He punched the bridge tower. The impact created a shockwave that rippled through the Star Destroyer's superstructure. Metal buckled. Systems overloaded. The entire ship shuddered from the blow. Inside, officers were thrown from their stations. Alarms shrieked, and emergency bulkheads slammed shut as atmosphere vented. The Star Destroyer began listing, its command structure crippled. The other two ships adjusted formation, increasing fire on Goku's position. He became a golden blur, dodging between turbo-laser bolts while targeting critical systems, sensor arrays, weapon emplacements, shield generators. "This is insane," the medical frigate's captain muttered, watching through long-range sensors. "He's fighting capital ships with his bare hands." "And winning," Leia added quietly. "Get those escape pods launched, now." The evacuation proceeded while Goku played a deadly game of distraction with the Imperial fleet. He couldn't destroy the Star Destroyers, and that would kill thousands of crew members, but he could disable them, cripple their weapons, damage their engines, force them into retreat or repair mode. The second Star Destroyer launched its full complement of TIE fighters. 72 starfighters converged on Goku's position, their pilots grimly determined to swarm the target through sheer numbers. Goku spun, key energy flaring around him. Scattershot! He threw dozens of small key blasts in every direction, each one targeted precisely. TIE fighters exploded or spiraled away disabled. Their solar panels shattered or cockpits vented. Within 30 seconds, half the squadron was neutralized. The remaining pilots retreated, reporting to their commanders that conventional attacks were ineffective. The Star Destroyers changed tactics, attempting to capture Goku with tractor beams. Invisible force gripped him, pulling toward the nearest ship's hangar bay. Goku struggled against the beam, his strength barely sufficient to resist. This wasn't an attack he could punch. It was technology, mechanical force that didn't care how strong he was. "That's annoying," he muttered, increasing his power output. His aura intensified, burning brighter. The tractor beam strained, generators overheating from the effort of containing so much energy. The beam failed. Goku broke free, leaving the generators smoking and inoperable. Behind him, the medical frigate made the jump to hyperspace, along with the escape pods carrying its patients and crew. The evacuation was complete. Everyone had escaped. Mission accomplished. Goku flew away from the Imperial fleet, easily outpacing any pursuit. When he was certain no one was following, he used instant transmission to teleport back to the Rebel rendezvous point, a hidden station in an asteroid field. He materialized on the docking bay, startling several technicians. Princess Leia was already there, having taken a faster ship to arrive first. "You disabled 3 Star Destroyers," she said without preamble. "Alone. In space." "They're not destroyed," Goku clarified. "Just damaged enough they can't fight. Crews are probably already working on repairs." "That's not the point. The point is you demonstrated again that the Empire's military advantage doesn't matter against you. Every recording of that battle, and there are recordings, our ships captured footage, will spread across the galaxy just like Bespin did." "Is that good or bad?" "Both. Good because it inspires resistance. Bad because it makes you an even bigger target. The Emperor won't rest until you're captured or dead." "Then let him come," Goku said seriously. "I'm done running from this fight. The Empire hurt too many people, destroyed too many lives. If the Emperor wants me, fine. But next time we meet, I'll be ready. And I'll win." Leia studied him, this warrior from another galaxy who'd stumbled into their war and chosen to fight. "You know what you remind me of? My father used to tell stories about the Jedi, about their certainty in the rightness of their cause. You have that same quality, that absolute conviction that good will triumph." "It has to," Goku replied simply, "because the alternative, letting evil win, isn't acceptable. Back home, we have a saying, justice will always triumph because villains lack true strength. I don't know if that's true everywhere, but I'm going to act like it is until proven otherwise." "Then let's prove it together." Leia extended her hand. "The rebellion formally welcomes you as an alliance operative. We'll coordinate strategy, share resources, and work toward our common goal, ending the Empire." Goku shook her hand, his grip firm but careful. "Partners, I like it. So what's the first move?" "We gather intelligence on the Death Star 2, find its location, its defenses, its weaknesses, and then we destroy it before the Emperor can use it to counter the hope you've given the galaxy." "Sounds like a plan." Goku's grin returned. "And while we're doing that, I'll keep training, getting stronger, Because next time I face the Emperor, I won't need to be rescued. I'll beat him, free this galaxy from his control, and maybe, just maybe, figure out how to get home afterward. One impossible task at a time, Leia said dryly. Hey, impossible is what I do best. Across the galaxy, in the throne room of the Death Star 2, still under construction but already functional enough to serve as the Emperor's mobile base, Palpatine watched reports of Goku's latest display. The warrior had disabled 3 Star Destroyers, survived in vacuum, demonstrated power that made conventional military responses seem inadequate. He grows stronger, Palpatine mused, or perhaps more confident. Either way, he's becoming the symbol I feared, proof that the Empire can be resisted. Darth Vader stood at his master's side, his damaged mask replaced with a new one, his armor fully repaired. Then we must eliminate him decisively. No more games, no more tests. A direct strike with overwhelming force. No. Palpatine's voice carried dark amusement. Games are precisely what we need. This warrior thinks he fights for justice, for good. We'll show him the cost of heroism. The Death Star 2 is nearly complete. When it is, we'll use it for a demonstration. Not destroying a planet, too crude. Something more. Personal. What do you have in mind, my master? The rebellion's base, when we find it, and we will find it, will position the Death Star above it. Give them time to evacuate. Let them scramble, panic, flee. And when their champion arrives to stop us, when Goku tries to save them, Palpatine smiled beneath his hood. We'll show him that some battles cannot be won, that heroism against sufficient power is merely suicide with better intentions. You're using the rebellion as bait. I'm using everything as bait. The rebellion, the Death Star, the galaxy's hope. All of it bait to draw out this warrior one final time. And when I face him again, I'll be prepared for his tricks. His Kaioken technique, his instant transmission, his Ki barriers. I know them now. Can counter them. Will counter them. And if he still proves difficult to defeat, Palpatine's expression darkened. Then I'll use what he cares about against him. Threaten his friends, destroy populated systems until he submits. Break his spirit before I break his body. By the end, he'll beg for death, and I'll grant it, eventually, after he's served his final purpose as an example to the galaxy. Vader bowed. I will ensure preparations are complete, my master. As Vader left, Palpatine turned to gaze at the stars through his throne room's viewport. Somewhere out there, the anomaly called Goku prepared for their next confrontation. The warrior thought he was fighting for freedom, for justice, for the innocent. He didn't understand yet that in this galaxy, such concepts were luxuries the weak couldn't afford. Power was the only truth. Control the only certainty. And the Sith had mastered both millennia ago. But Palpatine would teach him. Oh yes, he would teach this naive warrior a lesson he'd never forget. Assuming Goku lived long enough to learn it, the Emperor's laughter echoed through the empty throne room, a sound without humor or warmth, just malice given voice, just darkness celebrating its inevitable triumph. The game continued, the pieces moved across the board, and in the shadows the true master prepared his final gambit. The galaxy held its breath, caught between hope and horror, between a warrior's determination and an emperor's wrath. Only one thing was certain. When they clashed again, the outcome would reshape everything. For better or worse, the galaxy far, far away would never be the same. The war between the Empire and Rebellion entered a new phase after Goku's arrival. No longer was it merely a struggle between tyranny and freedom. It became a test of whether raw power and pure intention could overcome centuries of Sith manipulation and military supremacy. Goku continued fighting alongside the Rebellion, learning to balance his strength with strategy. Master Chirrut's teachings helped him refine his Ki barriers, making him increasingly resistant to Force attacks. Princess Leia and General Rekan learned to incorporate him into operations not as a blunt weapon, but as a precision instrument, striking targets that conventional forces couldn't touch, inspiring resistance wherever he appeared. The Emperor's obsession with capturing Goku grew with each passing week. Star Destroyers were redirected from garrison duties. Vader personally led hunt operations. The Inquisitorius received orders to prioritize the anomaly above all other targets. Yet Goku's instant transmission made him impossible to trap, and his growing understanding of the Force made him harder to counter. The Death Star 2 neared completion. Intelligence suggested the Emperor planned something catastrophic, a demonstration that would dwarf even Alderaan's destruction. The rebellion prepared for the inevitable confrontation, knowing Goku would be at its center. But through it all, Goku never forgot his true goal, returning home to Earth, to Chi-Chi and his friends. Every quiet moment, he reached out with his senses, searching for any dimensional rift or energy signature that might lead back to his universe. King Kai offered what guidance he could across the barriers between realities, but the path home remained unclear. Still, Goku had never been one to give up. He'd found his way into this galaxy accidentally. Eventually, he'd find his way out intentionally. And when he did, he'd leave behind a galaxy changed by his presence. A galaxy that learned the Empire's power wasn't absolute, that even the greatest tyrants could be challenged. That hope, once truly ignited, was impossible to extinguish. The Sith Lords awaited in their fortresses, plotting their revenge. The rebellion gathered its forces for a final strike, and Goku trained, meditated, and prepared for the confrontation that would determine not just his fate, but the fate of billions. The Force might not touch him, but his presence had touched the galaxy, and that made all the difference. In the end, only one truth mattered. Evil could be fought. Tyrants could be beaten. And sometimes all it took was one warrior willing to stand against impossible odds and refuse to surrender. The galaxy far, far away had found its champion. Whether that champion would be its salvation or its doom remained to be seen. But one thing was certain: the story was far from over.